Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, August the 24th, 2021. We're in the Century Jury Room of the Hood County Justice Center at 1200 West Pearl Street in Granbury, Texas. This is a regular meeting of the Commissioners Court of Hood County, Texas. Today, as always, Dr. Bill Miller of the Hood County Pastor Council has brought with us an esteemed pastor from our community here to give us the invocation. And we have the pleasure of having Pastor Kevin Spencer with Center Point Church here today. Pastor Spencer.
Thank you. If you would, bow with me. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, we're so thankful for this morning, everyone that's here. We ask for your wisdom and your provision as we lead and serve the people of Hood County well. Thank you as we go out from this that we have your direction in all that we do. Thank you for your protection over all of us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, I want to remind everybody again today that if you want to speak on any agenda item, the sheriff has public participation forms that you must sign and fill out and tell us what item you wish to address, and also whether you're for or against such item. Each citizen is given an opportunity, a maximum of 5 minutes, for a maximum of 30 minutes for each item that's on the agenda. And so if you get more than 6 people, then we're going to have to divide up the time between the people that are for the proposition and the people that are against the proposition. So that's why it's important that you fill out the participation form, hand it to Sheriff Deeds. Sheriff Deeds will hand it to Miss Lang, the county clerk. She will number them, and then both myself and Commissioner Cotton here will try to keep all of this in line, because we got a number of items today and a lot of people want to speak, and that's fine.
Yeah, if we get to an agenda item and you think you're being missed, raise your hand. We'll find it. We got a stack of them, so if we get them out of order, help us out. If you want to speak on one, and you think you turned in a slip, just raise your hand if you think we missed you. Thanks.
Okay, so please cooperate with us and try to get those filled out now as we proceed. That's why I want to say that at this time. So the next item that we have is a special presentation. We have Ms. Wanda Strange here with us today, that's with the Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. She's right there. I'd like to introduce her. She's in pink. She's a very good public servant and has helped out tremendously. Ms. Strange, I would like for you to tell the audience here something about yourself and then read the proclamation that you asked me to prepare, okay?
Very good. Thank you so much for the opportunity to represent North Texas Prostate Cancer Coalition. My name is Wanda Strange, and I'm a retired oncology nurse. I've been retired for about 6 years. I serve on this board as the only woman on the board. About 2 decades ago, I facilitated a prostate cancer group and became one of their advocates. Through this group, I met men who passionately promote public awareness of the importance of early diagnosis and treatment of prostate cancer. This disease is always treatable and often curable if it's found early enough. Because 1 in 8 men, and before I got up, I looked around in this room, and given the number of men that are in this room, it's somewhere between 2 or 3 men in this room could be affected by prostate cancer. So it's real important to all of you and to your spouses and to those people who love you that you take care of your own health. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed, and 87 men die of the disease every day. Because of that, the coalition focuses efforts on screening, education, resources, and support to prostate cancer patients and their caregivers. During the pandemic, programs were offered via Zoom, which makes it more widely available, especially to those of us who live in rural communities. If you know someone who's affected by prostate cancer, or if you're interested in learning about the resources that this coalition has to offer, please visit their website to learn more. And I sincerely appreciate the court's time and support in promoting September as Prostate Cancer Month. And I would like to read the proclamation. To designate September as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, whereas prostate cancer constitutes 20% of all male cancer diagnoses and 10% of all male cancer deaths, and whereas in Texas an estimated 14,200 new cases of prostate cancer and an estimated 2,180 deaths will occur in 2021, and whereas men of African descent, men with a family history of prostate cancer, firefighters, and men exposed to Agent Orange are at highest risk, and whereas prostate cancer is the second most commonly diagnosed cancer in American men, only behind skin cancer, and the second leading cause of cancer death in men behind lung cancer, and whereas this year approximately 248,530 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in the United States. That's one man every 2.1 minutes, and roughly 34,130 will die this year from the disease, which is one man every 15 minutes. And whereas 1 in 8 men are diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime, men of African ancestry are at the highest risk for the disease with a rate of 1 in 6 men. There are also 2.1 times more likely to die from the disease. And whereas prostate cancer not only affects men, but also their family and friends. And whereas education regarding prostate cancer and early detection strategies are critical to saving lives, preserving and protecting our families, and whereas all men are at risk for prostate cancer, the citizens of Hood County are encouraged to increase their personal awareness of prostate cancer and of the importance of prostate cancer screenings. Therefore, I, Ron Massengill, County Judge of Hood County, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2021 as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, signed this day, this 24th day of August 2021, and it's signed by Judge Massengill. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. The next item we have our service award, Ms. Melissa Wellborn.
Good morning. Our 5-year award today goes to Lauren Waite.
Congratulations, Ms. White.
Thank you.
She made the 5-year.
I made the 5 years.
She's a great employee. I really appreciate all her hard work. She works really hard.
Oh, how pretty. Thank you. Cool. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir, and the other one was not able to make it this morning.
Okay. Mr. Virgil Martin has a 15-year service award, but he's working. That's why he's still working here for 15 years. So he didn't make it this morning, but we appreciate him for his hard work. Okay, now, the next item is going to be the consent agenda. Does any commissioner wish to pull any item from the consent agenda? If not,
Judge, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
motion been made by Commissioner Cotton to approve the consent agenda. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Eagle. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, the next item is to be considered are the subdivisions and roads. Mr. Donald Lenny, another treasured Hood County employee. How long have you been working here, Mr. Lenny?
I started in 93.
You started when you were in the 9th grade? 28 plus years, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have for us, Mr. Lenny?
Judge, this is asking the court to authorize you to sign a road lane release. What has happened in the early 90s, what we call the Fenimore Edition, they did a process where they had an election amongst the members of that, on this development. And then in turn, the county set up a payment plan with each one of these individuals and gave them 5 years to pay it off. And in turn, the county at that time took, and to remind you that we were under 50,000 as a county at that time, that we were allowed to go in contract with people, with them paying so much, and that the county would actually go the road and it would be theirs. In this instance, I first knew about it in 2004. Somebody come in and finished the payment up, and I found this file that I showed Mr. Andrews the other day. They started in 95, and the actual date that the county judge had put claims was 96 of January. But the commissioner at that time had sent out letters in June of 95, and there was quite a few of them that paid by the end of 95. And for some reason, this one just never got reported. We have the receipt that they did make their payment. So we're asking the court to authorize the judge to go ahead and sign this road lane release.
I saw that there was an amount of like $2,500, and I saw the evidence that it has been paid.
Yes, sir.
On the deal. So do I hear a motion?
Yes, sir, Judge. I'll make a motion to allow you to approve the release of the road lien on the 36.18 acre tract out of the C. Arrington Survey, abstract number 9, the J.W. Owensby Survey, abstract number 814, and the G.W. Williams Survey, abstract number 600, situated in Hood County, Texas, located in Block 319, page 710, and authorize judge to sign the same.
Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to allow the judge to sign the release of lien on said property, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Lenny, I have signed this. Please let somebody in your office go ahead and notarize that, or Ms. Lang can do it for you right there and hand it to you. You want to file it, so I've signed it. Thank you very much. All right, appreciate it. Okay. All right, next we have development, Mr. Clint Head.
Morning, Judge. Morning, Commissioner. First item we have today is an application to be accepted by development for a replat of Brazos Street Acres, lots 38, 39R, precinct 2. Staff recommends setting a public hearing for September 28, 2021. Commissioners report.
Judge, I'll make the motion to set a public hearing for the replat of the Brazos River Acres lots 38R and 39R for September 28th, 21.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion been made by Commissioner Cotton to set a public day for Brazos River Acres, that being September the 28th of 2021, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Next item we have is a public hearing to discuss and consider the replat of Montego Bay Estates, Lot 11R, Block 14, and Precinct 3.
Okay, now we're going to convene into a public hearing to discuss the replat at 9:17. Okay.
This replat is combining of lots 11 and 12 in Block 14 in Montego Bay Estates, creating a 0.36 of an acre lot called Lot 11R. The property is located in the Water Quality District in Precinct 3 and is served by public water and on-site sewage facilities. Staff has reviewed this replat. All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approval of the replat Montego Bay Estates, Lot 11R, Block 14, as presented.
Okay. Any comment or discussion, question? Okay, I'm going to reconvene back into the Commissioners Court and ask if there's a motion.
I move that we, consider the replat for Montego Bay Estates, Lot 11R, Block 14.
Second.
Made by Commissioner Wilson to the replat of the Montego Bay Estates, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
We have another public hearing. It's to discuss and consider the replat of Orchard 14, Lot 3476R, in Precinct 2.
Okay, we will now at 9:18 convene into a public hearing to discuss the replat of Orchard 14. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Head.
I'll close it.
We're at a public hearing.
Okay. The replat is combining of lots 3476 and 3477 of Orchard 14, creating a 2.006 acres lot called Lot 3476R. The property is located within the Water Quality District in Precinct 2 and is served by public water and will be served by on-site sewage facilities. Staff has reviewed this replat. All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approval of the replat of Orchard 14, Lot 3476 as presented.
Okay. Is there any question or comment concerning the replat of Orchard 14? If not, we'll reconvene back into Commissioners Court, and do I hear an appropriate motion?
Judge, I'll make the motion to approve the replat of Orchard 14, Lot 347, or 3476R.
Have your second.
Second.
All right. A motion has been made by Commissioner Cotton to approve the replat of Orchard 14, Lot 3476R, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Next, we have the preliminary plat of Luker Ranch to discuss and consider. The property is located at 3410 Williamson Road, Granbury, Texas. The gross site area of this concept plan is 176 acres of the J. Chenoweth Survey, abstract number 84, the J. Kilgore Survey, abstract number 311, and proposes to create 92 single-family lots, one commercial lot, and one water tank and tower reserve lot. This preliminary plat is located in the Water Quality District in Precinct 2, will be served by Aqua Texas Water and on-site sewage facilities. The preliminary plat proposes to construct approximately 6,500 foot of public asphalt streets. At the October 27th Commissioners Court, the concept plan for the preliminary plat was approved, along with a variance to Section 1, Section 64E3D, concerning a street longer than 600 foot in a cul-de-sac. The variance was approved under the condition larger cul-de-sacs be built. For the record, in Section 1 of the development regs, 652A2, concerning the minimum flowage of the water system for fire suppression. Oh, that was a different part, never mind. Anyway, staff recommends, or has reviewed the preliminary plat. All comments have been addressed, and recommends approval of the preliminary plat as presented.
I do have a speaker, which on D. Which one is that?
I think it's,
No, I got two on H, but I have nothing on D. Does anybody want to speak on Luker Ranch?
Here we are.
Oh.
Somebody?
Okay. Good. We see you here quite often.
Usual
Yeah.
suspect.
Yes, Judge, Commissioners, good morning. Joe LaCroix, Barrett, Hampton and Brown Engineering, here on behalf of the developer. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have on the preliminary plat for Luker Ranch.
Anybody have any questions on behalf of the developer? I think you skated by again.
Very good. Thank you all for your time.
All right. All right. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, with that said, Judge, I will make a motion to approve the preliminary plat of Luker Ranch.
Okay, your second?
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Cotton to approve the plat of Luker Ranch, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
All right, the next
All right,
item,
thank you.
we have preliminary plat of Indian Crossing to discuss. The concept plan for Indian Crossing was approved May 11th, Commissioners Court. The property is located at 11925 Brock Highway, Lipan, Texas. It proposes to create 37 single-family lots and 1 water system lot. This preliminary plat was located in the Road Corridor District in Precinct 1 and will be served by Lipan Water and on-site sewage facilities. The concept plan to construct 2,127 feet, 0.27 linear feet of 6-inch concrete streets in 3 cul-de-sacs. The largest residential lot is 1 acre and the smallest is 0.917 of an acre. The water system lot is 0.79 of an acre. Development received an email from the engineer last week that stated that the developer, Derek Osborne, informed them he was not moving forward with this project. Development has not received any correspondence from the developer to confirm this. Staff has already reviewed this project and sent the comments out and was awaiting on the comments to be addressed. And due to the local government code, section 2320025, timely approval of a plats, plans, and that states the Commissioners Court or the court's designee shall approve with conditions, or disapprove plat applications not later than the 30th day after the date the completed application was received. The Commissioners Court or the court's designee. An application is approved by the Commissioners Court or the court's designee unless the application is disapproved within that period accordance to the section 2320026. There has not been a continuance request sent to development that would have waived the 30-day requirement, and development is presenting this to court today to avoid an automatic approval of the preliminary plat when the comments have not been addressed. Staff requests the court disapprove this preliminary plat and state in the motion so the court is in compliance with section 2320026 that says the court has to cite the reasons for disapproval. Staff recommends citing that the comments have not been addressed to be in compliance with the development regulations pertaining to drainage and drainage easements, and reservations required to be on the preliminary plat concerning the maintenance of those drainage easements.
All right, so you are recommending to
Denying.
not approve this because they're not in compliance with the regulations.
I recommend denying this plat.
Okay.
So Judge, I'll make a motion to disapprove the preliminary plat application of Indian Crossing to be in accordance with the Texas Local Government Code Section 232.0026, and let the motion for disapproval reflect the reason for the disapproval is the preliminary plat review comments have not been addressed to be in compliance with the Hood County development regulations pertaining to drainage and drainage easements, and reservations required to be on the preliminary plat concerning the maintenance of the drainage easements.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Andrews to disapprove based upon the reasons that he has stated, second by Commissioner Cotton. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0 for disapproval. Okay. Item number F. What you got there, Mr. Head?
We have a final plat of Cunningham Edition, Lot 1, Block 1. The property is located at 7606 Biloxi Highway, Toller, Texas. This final plat will be creating a 2.811 acres lot out of the Joseph Doan Survey, abstract number 145. The plat is located in the Road Corridor District in Precinct 1 and will be served by well and an on-site sewage facility. Staff has reviewed this final plat. All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approval of the final plat of Cunningham Edition, Lot 1, Block 1, as presented.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make a motion to approve the final plat of Cunningham Edition, Lot 1, Block 1.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Andrews to approve the final plat of Cunningham Edition, second by Commissioner Cotton. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, Mr. Head, you got a bunch of business for us today, don't you?
We have a final plat of D.H. Walker, Lot 1, Block 1. The property is located at 3810 Rock Church Highway, Toller, Texas. The final plat will be creating a 5 acres lot out of the E.B. Kratz survey, abstract number 895. Final plat is located in the Road Corridor District in Precinct 1 and will be served by well and on-site sewage facilities. Staff has reviewed this final plat. All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approval of the final plat of the D.H. Walker Edition, Lot 1, Block 1, as presented.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make a motion to approve the final plat of D.H. Walker Edition 1, Block 1.
Hear a second? Second. Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to approve the final plat of D.H. Walker Edition, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay,
Next, we have a final plat of Red Tail Edition, lots 1, 2, and 3 in Block 1.
we got two.
The property is located at 9103 Nix Road, Tulare, Texas. This final plat will be creating 3 lots out of the Lewis Boat Rat Survey, abstract number 33. The largest lot will be 5.099 acres, and the smallest will be 4 acres. This final plat is located in the Rural District in Precinct 1 and be served by well and on-site sewage facilities. Staff has reviewed this final plat. All comments have been addressed, and I think you have some speakers.
I've got two people that will speak on this, okay? The first one is Ted Termerlin. Yeah, yes. Come up here and good morning, Mr. Termerlin.
Good morning. Again, my name is Ted Tomerlin, the property owner. We began this project back last February. We addressed the county proactively to ask for permission to break these lots up, 5-acre lots roughly. We were told that we needed to name that road, and we followed through with all of that. So we've tried to be proactive and be cooperative with the county in getting this thing done in an appropriate manner. These are large lots. They're 330 feet across the face of them, 670 feet deep. So there's not a problem with spacing on wells or sewer systems and all that kind of thing. We just asked for your permission to go ahead with this plat and the project. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. What about the roads? You didn't mention roads.
Do what?
Did you mention roads on, they were putting roads in on these plots?
It's,
They'll come off a private dirt road.
It is a private dirt road.
yes. Yeah, it's a private road.
Oh, okay.
Not, yeah, yeah. And that's,
Private drive or private road or whatever. Okay.
Private drive.
Private drive. Okay.
But now, if they add any more, then they'll have to construct a road to our standards.
But not as it stands right now.
Right now, they're under the threshold of the shared driveway access.
Okay. So you're asking for approval?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, next we have Carrie Tuggle.
Good morning, y'all.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, nice to finally meet you in person, by the way. We've been talking a lot. I'm here not to represent, because I'm not an attorney, obviously. I'm a landowner as well in Tulare, Texas. I've been there for a very long time. All of this has come new to me and in the real estate world and at the banks and the title companies, except for one, actually in Hood County CTT. They know about this. Do not know about this. So it's become actually a pretty big, I started a stank and I didn't mean to. It just came to me after I sold a 5-acre lot of this plat. We didn't have a plat done because we didn't know a plat needed to be done on these 3 tracts. Ted owns all the land in the back coming up, and he is just trying to sell some of that land to build his house, which a lot of people in Tulare, if you're familiar with Tulare, have private roads. A lot of them have barn dominiums and barn homes and things like that off of these private roads and don't have this issue. So I don't know why this all came about to me, but it did. So basically, I'm here as a landowner, but also here to support my clients as well as why this is an issue. I understand infrastructure, I understand water problems, sources, and Brock is going through that right now, so I do get that. This actually has a pond, a holding pond, a huge holding pond, and it has a creek running through these lots. There's another road down the road that's kind of the same thing. So we just kind of here to try to figure out, why this is an issue. If it's not an issue, that'd be great. If we get the rubber stamp, we're good, we're happy. But there's a lot of people, selling, and I just had another one that just came about too. So all of this, after 10 years, is just starting to hit me pretty good. And I feel like we need an education out there for the real estate world. I know that's a lot. And I know you are just here to do what you're supposed to do with the county modules, but I'm here to do another thing, which is to make sure to be here for the people. My parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my family that all own in Toller, I'm here for them too, actually. If somebody buys land, they go to the title company, they close. You walk out of the door just like yourselves, and you're good because the deed that you signed didn't have certain restrictions. But now the county's coming about and saying, oh, this is a development. Like a development. Well, outside of these doors, this is not a development. Maybe inside these doors because of the training, but outside of these doors to your grandparents and my grandparents, this is not a development. So the frustration hits at the very beginning. I contacted the county to talk about what I was doing because it came about to me from Steve Cook that he had an issue not that long ago. Well, I didn't want to have that issue. So I contacted the county to figure out what to do. A private road was the acknowledgement. So I did the right thing, called Catherine Davis, and did the private road. All the homeowners agreed, signed a form. Red Tail Court, because they see a red tail come through a lot, so that's kind of where that cool name came from. And now all of a sudden I close on 5 acres and get a phone call from the county within an hour after I closed because I had told my buyer to call 911 and get an address, which is what we're supposed to do. So that's the only way I can figure out how this came about. And we're just here to ask for mercy because here's the deal. You've got homeowners that are in medical strains. You've got homeowners that are in financial strains. You've got the elderly. You've got people trying to sell a little bit of their land just to kind of make ends meet. Now they're supposed to do a $3,500 plat with a surveyor, $300 to the county to apply, $10 per tract. Seems kind of crazy to me. And the exemptions that are showing on here with the county actually that were shared with me, kind of crazy too, to be honest with you. Who's to say who's kin? Are we supposed to bring in Sistery.com to prove we're kin? Do we bring a birth certificate? Who's to say who's kin? I don't know where that came about on the county module, but it seems kind of silly to me. Another one is if you're adjoining, that does make sense to me. Obviously, if you're adjoining land, you're purchasing more land. That's fine, I get that. And then the third one, what was the third one?
Agricultural exemption and Veterans Land Board loan.
There you go. So the main thing I have is you've got subdivisions and developments going up, and I understand that takes a while, engineering with the county, their engineers they've hired are attorneys, but you've got these ma and pa's that own land that are just trying to sell a little bit of land. So under 10 acres, they're expected to pay $3,500 for a plat, plus a survey that's separate. In case y'all didn't know that. Some people do, some don't. And then the $300 for application and $10 per lot. So I just don't, none of us understand why this has come about and why some past commissioners I've talked to didn't even know about this. So it's become a pretty big deal. You got First National Bank involved right now, First Financial Bank. I don't know. It's just kind of different to me, so.
Can you address our concerns here?
Please, yes, please.
Step aside.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Talk, I'll let him talk, okay.
Those exemptions are based off the same exemptions that are in Section 232 of the Local Government Code. Section 232 of the Local Government Code also requires anything under 5 acres be platted. We go to a higher exemption or platting rule, and most counties with lakes in the Brazos River Basin go to a 10-acre rule. Anybody who's surveying calls before you're surveying and checks. I can't believe a title company wouldn't know, because a title company, you just approved one on F and G that a bank and a title company required. They both required them because they were less than 10 acres. They knew about them. They came, they asked for it. But our exemptions are based off the exemptions that are in Section 232 of the Texas Local Government Code. We didn't make them up. They mirrored those exemptions.
Okay. So, what are we doing about this thing? Are they going to have to pay the $3,500 plus?
They already did. They already did. They got money together and paid $3,500 for a plat.
And as far as we told people in the past, you can't just cut up and use a private road and not build a county road standard. What's going to happen later on down the line is those people who are living on that are going to come to y'all and want y'all to take that road over. So if you're going to start selling off down this dirt road, you're going to have to build it to county standards, unless it's just 3 sharing a driveway.
Can I ask why all of a sudden I got a phone call after a closing, and it's taken him a month to get an address because of all this?
Well,
I haven't had anybody yet tell me they got that phone call, so, yeah.
And I can't speak for the speed of your surveyor.
Yeah. That's kind of where I wondered who was supposed to know all this, because I'm a realtor, you're county, so county, you don't know real estate all, as far as a realtor goes, and I wouldn't expect all of y'all either too, but the education is not out there. So, I don't really know what to say about that.
Like y'all gonna have a town hall meeting out there, and get these people out there, and Toller up there, and I'd blame your commissioner up there, Mr. Andrews up there.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm not blaming anybody, I'm simply being a landowner, just like yourself.
Yeah.
And out here finding out something after I've been doing real estate for 10 years and not knowing it made me feel like I was an idiot, actually. So I started making phone calls. I got on this page we have of realtors in the DFW area in Hood County, and it amazed me how hardly anyone knows about it at all. 3, and I'm number 3. And then some ex-county commissioners didn't even know about it. I was very impressed by the fact of the number of people in the business that doesn't know. I mean, it got a stink going at First National Bank Mortgage. They were just so lost about it. But you think about it, you get people 10 acres and more, maybe they can afford $3,500 plats and $300 to the county and $10 per. You don't do that to the ma's and pa's. You just don't. I was raised that way. I was raised with the cut and horse trainer guys that didn't own the land. They were basically the foremen. So this kind of irritates me a little bit. To think about those people out there, and now I didn't want to know this. I'll be honest with y'all, I did not want to know this, because with me knowing this, everything I do now has to go that way. Do you see what I'm saying? So majority of people closed on land for how long and didn't know about this, and they're fine. But now all of a sudden, and I understand, sometimes it's about politics, sometimes it's about money, sometimes it's about whatever. I'm not big political. I'm just not. For me, I wasn't raised that way. I just don't understand why we have to, in a way, I guess, all of us, it feels like picking on the little guy. You know what I mean? You've got these people with small lands that are just trying to make ends meet. It's a nice road. It's maintained by the sellers. It's been maintained for over 40 years. And the new owner, he wanted to be here so bad, because he does not want the county to come get involved. He wants the same thing. They've all signed on this. If a bank closes with a deed stating no restrictions, right, except for swine and mobile homes, that was the restrictions, that's it. They do that in excitement that it's their private area. And so now trying to get the county involved with, am I supposed to ask the sellers to pay for an engineer to work with the engineer with the county? How does that work? What does that cost a seller? I guess that's a question.
Well, what I'm hearing Mr. Head says is that the law is just the law, and that's the requirement.
So then y'all need to educate everybody outside of these doors on that law in Hood County. Every single one of them. This needs to be out there. Do you agree? You don't?
Not my job to educate people.
But, I can't educate y'all on real estate. You know what I mean? So who educates everybody outside of these doors? If we're going to abide by this with mine, you got to abide by this with all. Do you not?
When I came from the private sector, I called whatever county I was working on, whatever community I was working on, whatever city I was working on, and I asked them what their minimum wage.
Because they said surveyors do that. I found out from 5 in Hood County surveyors, that's their job.
Yep.
But it's not my job as a realtor. You see what I'm saying? So that's where it started, probably. Not you, but that's where it started, probably, was the surveying, because the surveyor did come do surveys, and we didn't know about the plat.
But a lot of surveyors will do exactly what you tell them to do.
See, here's the deal. If I wouldn't have called Clint before I listed this, because Steve Cook told me there was an issue in the past, not with you, but with the county module, something, I'd have never known. I would have never known. So I understand you disagree, but here's the deal. Who's going to educate everybody outside of there? When all of us realtors are supposed to do something, surveyors are supposed to do something, you're supposed to do something, and when we all have a job,
That's why they have me to call and ask.
I don't know about y'all's moms and dads, but mine were the little guy. So I'm here for the little
Tell
guy.
everybody to call Mr. Head, and he'll have to explain what the law is to him. He can do that very well.
We have 60,000 in Hood County. I could put it out there.
They call every day.
Okay.
Answer the questions.
Right.
Okay. Just FYI, I got a big Facebook of friends, y'all. I don't really want to do that.
And we've spent a lot of time on the phone working.
We have,
working
and you're
through
learning from this,
situation.
too.
And, yeah, and it's, the issue is there has to be a line somewhere. And, and you can see the reasons for that with 911 addressing. If you don't, that's very important. That's a life safety
That's why we
issue.
did that private road, yeah.
Right, and so that's one of the things that come up in development is addressing concerns like that. We're working with another one about the watershed and what it's developed does downstream. And these things are, these are tough things. Nobody wants to get in mom and pop's business, and none of us want to do that. But there has to be a line somewhere for
subdivisions. But the county's saying that 2 or more is a subdivision. Who came up with that?
Any division of land is a subdivision. Whether it touches a road or not,
You're subdividing some land, right?
any
But
division of land is a subdivision. But
we'll see to everybody else outside the doors, it's not,
putting
you know?
infrastructure in, there's a difference in the subdivision you're thinking of and then
Right.
a plat.
Big subdivision, yeah.
But any division of land, even by meets and bounds, is a subdivision.
So when they read it in there, that's what they're reading is the same thing as me as an individual outside of here, is 2 makes me a subdivision, So maybe the wording in the county needs to be changed a little. But I do think it needs to be educated outside of here.
Here's the basic deal. Ignorance of the law is no defense. That's just the basic deal. Ignorance of the law is no defense.
So every realtor is
So
an
if
ignorant.
You're going down the road someplace and you say, well, I didn't know that the speed limit was 75 miles an hour and I'm driving 90, that's not going to be a defense to it.
But Ron,
You
that's
have to-
posted outside, right? And this is inside the county.
Well,
See?
I understand that you have some problems with the realtor. What I would advise you to just get a real good real estate attorney, and maybe he can do a summary for you, working with Mr. Head, and then you can post it on the subdivisions that you're dealing with out there and have a town hall meeting and educate the people and let them know what's involved if you are going to subdivide your land.
It's not my
You gotta
job.
follow- Well, you got to follow the law.
Sure, we have to, I'm married to the law, you know that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I don't have to be a normal
Here he comes to
person.
get you right now, but anyway, yes, I do. And you make some very good points, and I'm not denying that at all. All I'm telling you is that it would be nice if you had somebody, and it'd be worthwhile for a bunch of people to get in together and hire a real estate attorney, let him work with Mr. Head, and get some basic information that would inform the people of what's involved when you subdivide your land or sell off your land.
I did actually
Okay?
talk to
Well,
them.
good. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So your recommendation, Mr. Head?
I recommend approving the plat as presented.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll move to approve the final plat of Red Tail Edition lots 1 through 3 in Block 1.
Second?
Motion is made by Commissioner Andrews to approve the final plat of Red Tail Additions, lots 1, 2, 3, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right.
All right. Back at the July 27th Commissioners Court, we had an agenda item that was tabled, no action was taken. This agenda item was for a variance to Section 1, the Development Permit Regulations, Section 5.4, Water Quality Land Use Standards, subsection B2 for Hideaway Bay Estates. It appears the owner may be able to resolve this issue without needing the variance. Development would like to ask the court to consider allowing development to credit the $200 fee that was accepted already for the variance and apply it to the $350 replat fee that should they resolve the issue without needing the variance and apply it to the replat.
So you're recommending crediting the application?
I just think it'd probably be the only thing right, since we didn't ever actually act on the variance, and they didn't need it, and they kind of resolved it without it.
Okay. You hear a motion?
Yeah, yes, sir. I make a motion that we credit $200 or the application fee for future replat submittal for Hideaway Bay Estates and apply it to the $350 replat fee, leaving him, the owner, owing $150.
Motion been made by Commissioner Eagle regarding the crediting of the application fee for Hideaway Bay Estates as stated. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Aren't y'all glad I'm done?
Thank you, Mr. Head.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
That ought to last you for a couple of
Ms.
months.
Becky Kidd.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Invoices for the court today, August 24th, 2021, $451,344.80. The auditor's office has reviewed all these invoices and recommends payment. We've also given you a list of payments over $10,000. Are there any questions regarding any of these expenditures?
Any questions? Any discussion?
Judge,
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the payments, $451,344.80.
Motion been made by Commissioner Cotton to approve the invoices in the amount of $451,344.80, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Judge, Commissioners, you've also been given a list of monthly reports that the auditor's office has reviewed and asked for acceptance in those. There is a duplicate. Item T and U are the same item. Strike one, please, and please approve the rest.
Okay. You recommend approval?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve the financial reports as presented.
Made by Commissioner Eagle to approve the financial reports as submitted. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Head. Okay, under miscellaneous, item number 1, consider and take appropriate action to authorize a county judge to sign the interlocal agreement for continued participation in the Regional Public Defender for Capital Cases program. I've submitted this. This is a deal that if we have an indigent in a capital murder trial, the last one I know around here being in Erath County with the guy that killed Chris Kyle, and it almost broke Erath County because they didn't have this policy, but it kicks in when you have a capital murder. These can go on, fees can be millions of dollars. This is a real good thing. I really made sure that we had this policy. I recommend that we really sign this interlocal agreement for that continued participation. And I make the motion to allow the county judge to sign that interlocal agreement for the participation in the public defender program for capital cases. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, discuss and take appropriate action to approve the appointment of the election judges for a one-year term. Yes, ma'am, we have Ms. Madison here.
Hi, I'm Madison Carney. I work for Michelle. I'm representing her today. I'm presenting the list of judges, alternate judges for one-year appointment effective September 1st, 2021. Michelle submitted these to be considered on the agenda per the Texas Secretary of State Advisory 2021-07 sent to all county chairs, county election officials, and county judges. Michelle received these list of judges from the county judge's office and the list of alternate judges from the Democratic Party chair. This is something that the election administrator brings to every year to Commissioners Court, and I ask that you approve these appointments as presented.
Okay, good deal. Thank you very much. David Fisher, you've asked to speak against this motion.
Judge, Commissioners, Election Code 32.002 says, "The county chair of the political parties whose candidate for governor received the highest or second highest number of votes in the county for the most recent gubernatorial general election shall submit in writing to the Commissioners Court a list of names of persons in order of preference for each precinct who are eligible for application as appointment for election judge. The county chair may supplement the list of persons until the 20th day before the next general election." Michelle came and asked me for this list in July. I specifically told her no. The law says that I am to submit to the Commissioners Court, to you. I did so. I specifically told her not to submit the list for the Republicans, yet here she is doing it. You can't make up the law as you go. Further, in her list, she appoints herself as the early voting clerk. But Election Law 83.002 says the county clerk is the early voting clerk for the county in the general election, the primary election, and the special elections. And the election clerk is appointed by whoever called the election, if in other elections, say a city or some other entity that wants to call an election. So I'd ask you to not allow these appointments. I've actually submitted, which is item 11 on your agenda today, for the Republicans, and further not to approve her as the election clerk. Thank you.
Okay. Well, when it says the county chair, Mr. Fisher, just a second.
Yes, sir.
There are 2 county chairs in Hood County, aren't there?
Yes, I have no idea what the Democrats are doing.
I didn't hear your answer.
I have no idea what the Democrats are doing.
No, I just asked you, aren't there 2 county chairs in Hood County?
Yes, there are.
A Republican chair, David Fisher, and a Democratic chair, Miss Adrian Martin.
Yes.
So the chair whose party won the last gubernatorial election is the one that selects the judges.
The presiding judges.
Correct. And so that would, since we have Governor Abbott there, Republican, that's you select the judges as the chair.
I select the presiding judges, and the Democrats select the alternate judges. Yes.
And there's no way that you could select the alternate judges that might
Correct.
select it. So in your deal, on item number 16, you don't even have the alternate judges listed.
Item number 11, correct.
Is it 11? Okay, 11. And on this one, we do have the presiding judge and the alternate judge and the early voting. And I look where Michelle has attached to the rest of her information here that it's exactly when Cricket Miller was the elections administrator, and the template that says here is the exact same that Cricket has used for all the previous elections since I've been here, since 19, and then even previous to that. So what we have here from our elections administrator is a complete list of the presiding judges, the alternate judges, the early vote clerks, the early vote ballot board, and the century count station, all on hers, where yours doesn't contain all of that.
That's correct. That's the Democrats' responsibility to appoint the alternate judges.
That's right. So what we're trying to do is to get a list of all the presiding and alternate judges. All of the judges that you selected are on this list. Is that true?
Judge, as you know, I told you back in July.
No, let me just, well.
I told her not to submit for us. The law says that I submit, not her. Why is she doing it in place of me?
You know, your list, whether you submitted it.
I don't even know how she got the list.
I'll listen to you. Please listen to me. You interpret it as given whether you give it to me or the elections administrator, or whether you give it to the Katie Lang. As long as the list is accurate and it comes before the Commissioners Court, and the list that you gave the presiding judges and all the other judges are on this list, but the list also includes the alternate judges, which yours doesn't. Do you understand that there has to be judges and alternate judges at the election? You, of course, understand that.
I do understand, Judge.
And you can't select or put down the alternate judges, correct?
The Democrat chair should be here to submit to you the alternate judges.
Well, it's submitted like it's always been submitted in past years, and it's in everybody's record to see that. So, you know, if it was a difference, if there were a difference between what you as the Republican chair had selected as presiding judges, I would understand your disapproval of this. But it's the exact same thing. The only thing that the election administrator has done is combine the presiding judges with the alternate judges in one document so we can approve it. What is your deal? So that we approve a Republican list and then we have to approve a Democratic list as opposed to having all the judges considered?
Yes, sir, that's what the law says.
That's not what, that's your interpretation in that same section that you count up here when you say that the law that the county judge, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th line down here, it says the county chairs.
Yes, sir.
That would reference both the Republican chair and the Democratic chair.
Yes, sir.
May submit to the Commissioners Court, may pre-approve, blah, blah, blah.
That's the way the law reads.
It's been, in that same section that you quote, it's taken into account that both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party have the right to select judges depending on the party of the governor that's in office.
Yes, sir.
So you get to select the presiding judges and the Democrats get to select the alternate judges, and this list contains your list of presiding judges, does it not?
Yes, sir, and it also contains herself, or Michelle appointing herself as the early voting clerk, which is against the law.
Okay.
Judge, can I
Further discussion?
Can I throw something in, Judge?
Sure.
It looks to me like that the only difference between the list that Mr. Fisher submitted to the commission, to your office, the Commissioner's Court, and what Ms. Carew has listed is just what it is, the same list. It's just combined. And the only objection I hear is that Mr. Fisher is objecting to the elections administrator as appointing herself as the early voting clerk. Have I kind of wound that up right?
Yes, sir.
So that, I think that's the only issue that he's presenting. Fair? Okay.
Yes.
Who's got that law? Who's got that law that you can quote? Michelle says that the law says she's the one that, by law, she is the early clerk. That's what Michelle says.
Texas Election Code, Section 83.002, county clerk is early voting clerk. The county clerk is the early voting clerk for the county in the general election for state and county officials and any other county-wide election held at county expense. 2, the primary election. 3, a special election ordered by the governor. There's the law.
Oh, but David, in the rest of the sections up there, we've argued about this before. When there is an elections administrator, it means the election administrator instead of the county clerk when it pertains to elections. That's the distinction.
Can you show me that in the law, please?
Well, I can't show it to you now. Vanessa, can you show it to him? We've talked about this ad nauseum before. The exception to this is when you don't have an elections administrator in a county, you bet it's the county clerk. But when you have an elections administrator, it says, it may say county clerk because it's stated specifically in an AG opinion that they haven't gone back and added the addition, when there is an election administrator, they take the place. Matt Mills has cited that law to us before. Do you know where it is, Vanessa?
I can go get it.
You could go get it? Do you understand that to be the law as well, Vanessa?
I don't want to say ahead of time.
Okay.
He didn't discuss that with me before he left.
Okay. Well, we can either vote on it. I think the commissioners here, I remember that distinctly, but I'm willing to take this up last then, if you other commissioners would like for her to find the law that there is an exception that if an election administrator has been appointed, that it's not the county clerk.
Hey, Judge, I'll make a motion that we put it off till item number 11, and then by that time, I know this budget and taxing deal is going to take us some time. If we put this off for consideration.
Can you do that? That's fine. I think that's a good idea. Let's just consider this one.
Settle this once and for all.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion for that? Because I've made it. If we don't need a motion, we'll just.
We don't need a motion.
Okay.
We're just going to go consider both of them at the same time because they are identical, except that your motion doesn't have the alternate judges down there.
Correct.
Okay? And you got the Michelle instead of Katie Lang.
But the only disagreement is that Michelle has appointed herself as the early elections administrator, and you don't believe that is correct by law. And Michelle thinks it is.
That is that's the only difference in the list,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. So that's what we're going to try to find out from the county attorney. See if
I'm
we
also-
can't
I'm
add
also-
some light on it.
Go ahead, sir, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm done.
I'm also objecting to the fact that I asked her specifically not to submit our names, Republican names, because I wanted to do it as per the law. Yet here we are, she's submitting the names. I don't even know how she got the names. Did you pass her
That
the names?
is your interpretation of
Yes, sir.
what the law is.
Yes, sir.
It has been for the last 10 years that more than that, I guess, since the election administrator was first done prior to Jacob Miller, that both the Republican chair and the Democratic chair gave the list of names to the election administrator, and the election administrator is the one that brought it to the commissioner's court, and you have seen it because it's attached to it. And Michelle Carew told me about it, and I told her to look it up in the past and to show Mr. Fisher that it was the election administrator, because you had to combine both the Republican choices and the Democratic choices. So anyway, we'll decide it. You hang around till number 11.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, item number 3, discuss and take appropriate action to approve the order of the November general constitutional amendment election.
I present to you the order of election for November 2nd, 2021, constitutional amendment election. This constitutional amendment election is ordered by the governor. However, the Commissioners Court should also complete a local order to ensure that all required actions related to the election have been completed.
Okay.
And we've got it in the packet, Judge.
Yes.
Look those up.
Has anybody got any further discussion?
I have, yes. I've just got one form objection. It's got, on the order that's to be signed, it says an election hereby ordered to be held on November the 2nd, 2021 for the purpose of por la presente. It doesn't say what the purpose is in English. I think that needs to be added to the order. I probably just got left off. That's the only comment that I've got to make. For the purpose of, por la presente se ordena que, that's terrible. I'm not even going to try to read it.
Do you see where he's talking about there, Madison?
And it doesn't
The top
connect,
of, it's right at the top, the first sentence.
Yeah.
but the second paragraph, that doesn't connect to that second paragraph, Dave?
No, I think the second paragraph, both
Separate?
are in both languages, but the first one's just got,
The second paragraph?
So it's the first paragraph.
yes, sir.
Purpose of. make sure, I'm okay with that. I think Commissioner Eagle is correct about that. And take it back and let's be sure that it's in English as well. Did that come from the governor's office that way?
What I have, Michelle gave it to me, and I don't know what you're talking about.
If it did, the governor his office made a mistake by not putting it in English. Is that what it says?
It doesn't list a purpose. It says for the purpose of, and then it doesn't say what the election's for.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure it says for what the purpose is in Spanish either.
No, I don't think it does. I think
I can't speak Spanish.
I can't either, but I think that's just saying the same thing.
I think you're right. Is that the way it came from the governor's office?
I'm not sure. I was just handed this, so.
This is coming from my strong command of the Spanish language.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Senor Eagle. Okay. I think, yeah, let's just.
This is a time-sensitive issue, is it not? Doesn't this have to be done by a certain time?
I just don't.
Nice to know what the purpose is, right?
Yeah.
Here's the only thing I'm worried about. If there any kind of time constraint or time sensitivity with this, since we're coming up on this election, we don't have a choice. Whatever the governor orders that we put on as far as constitutional amendments or whatever has got to be put on the ballot for every county court. We all know that. So it just got to conform to whatever the governor has said. Can we go ahead and pass it saying that let's make sure and check the language?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, just to make sure.
Just to make sure. I don't want any time constraints being able to.
Pass it, but you're going to add the purpose in both languages.
Yeah, if there is a purpose, because I don't think there's a purpose in Spanish either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's not. So how about that motion that way?
Can I try to make that motion? We'll approve, or, approve the order of November general constitutional amendment election, provided that the English language is, what is it?
I think we just have to give a purpose.
Just give a purpose in both.
For the purpose for both English and Spanish.
Right. All right, I'll second that.
Okay.
Whatever that was, I'll second.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Cotton that the purpose be stated in both English and Spanish language. Second by Commissioner Eagle, or Senor Eagle here. So,
correct.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. See, claro. Okay.
Arrow Eagle.
All right, number 4, take appropriate action to hold a second public hearing for the fiscal year 2022 proposed Hood County budget. Ms. Kidd. Oh, yeah, I was waiting for you to come up here so we could hear you at the microphone. And at this time, at 10:10, we are adjourning into a public hearing to discuss the fiscal year 2022 proposed Hood County budget.
Is there anyone wanting to speak on that?
Yes, ma'am, we do. We have, I think I've heard this lady before. I've got Andrea Ferguson and Carrie Nelson. Y'all know these two people here? Good morning.
I just want to hand out a little bit of information.
It's all just one?
Yep.
Thank you.
What I handed out is just information of what my department brings in. You can see it for the last 5 years of what my department brings in monthly to the end. And I just want you to understand and take into consideration for my department to get a competitive pay raise to what the county, not this county, but the department stores make. My department makes less than our #1 retailer, my clerks do. My clerks make less than what Taco Bell employees make. My department has to learn the law. They have to take courses. They can't get on the computer until they pass their courses. If the state changes a law or if the state adds something to the law, they have to pass the courses for that. My department does not close during the week. My department is always open. My department works Saturdays. We are always open to the public that is convenient for our citizens. Sometimes we might have to shut one office down, like when COVID hit. But we were open during COVID. We saw dealers, we saw customers, we did mail, we had a drop-off. My girls are one of the hardest working departments, not saying anybody else's isn't, but my girls work very hard. They do a lot. They lift all their own boxes. We don't get anybody to come in and move our stuff around for us. They work very hard. If they don't pass their course, they can't get on the system. They can't do their work. They can't see customers. We have to fill in. We have all that money that you're looking at. 8 clerks brought that money in. 8 clerks did all that work. That is a lot of money brought into this county. All I'm asking for is my girls to get, and my clerks, to get the same pay rate that they deserve, which is, I'm asking for at least $33,000. They make less. There's some girls that make less than $30,000 right now. That's not, I have girls that are on government assistance. I've gone to food banks and picked them up food because they don't have enough food to feed their families. But they're loyal to this county. But I'm losing them to other people that pay better. And I don't want to lose the ones I have. All my girls have been here for over a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I don't want to lose them because they don't get enough pay. And then when you take 7% off right off the bat, that's less money for them. Not that the retirement isn't a good thing, but that's less money they get to bring home to their families. So all I'm asking for is a competitive pay rate, at least $33,000 for the girls to make. That's all I'm asking.
Is there any of your 8 employees that are making the $33,000?
None of them, except for one clerk. Which,
right now. But
yeah.
In the proposed budget, it looks like 3 of them are going to go to $33,000.
I'm
Everybody else is
asking.
going to $32,500 is what's on
Yeah.
the proposed budget.
I'm just asking for that, for them.
So that's satisfactory to you? That's
33 is what I'm asking for all my clerks to make.
How many have you lost in the last 3 months? How many?
3.
3? How long were they here?
Dawn was here for 9 years, but she went to be a realtor. And she decided to get out of it. One went to Parker County because Parker County makes more money than we do. One went, we lost one to Mineral Wells. They make more money than we do. So I've got one driving from Godly, but now she's looking at the DPS office, and I'm begging her not to go because she's been with me for almost 5 years. So that's what I'm just asking for.
So we got, on the proposed budget, it's $33,000
for 3 of the clerks, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the clerks at $32,500 is what's on the proposed.
The one that makes the 33 is my dealer clerk and my 2 supervisors. I'm talking about my other clerks.
Okay, they're all at $32,500 is the proposed.
Yes, I'm talking about the other clerks, not my
And
supervisors.
your request is to take them to 33?
33.
Okay.
So an extra $500 a year
Mm-hmm.
for 8 clerks.
Well, 5.
5, 6.
5, it's on.
Yeah, 6 clerks, yeah.
6
And 2
clerks.
supervisors. Yes,
I've got a list of 8 of them here, though.
yes.
It's 8 of them listed, maybe it's some.
That's because 2 of them are supervisors, and 1 is a dealer
Oh, but
clerk.
they're already making
Yes.
that. So you only have 5 clerks that are making.
Gotcha. Yeah, I
Yes.
see it.
32,500.
Yes,
I see.
I got it.
And you
Yeah.
want the $500
Yes.
increase.
And also, none of the other counties do boats, by the way. A lot of them quit doing Texas Parks and Wildlife. We have them coming from Greenville, Forney, Dallas, because none of the other counties do boats anymore, by the way. We have one county that does boats, and they only do renewals for their county, no title transfers. If you look at the second page, you can see how much our boats have gone up for Texas Parks and Wildlife in the last 5 years.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. Okay. Any further discussion?
See anybody else on this one? I don't think so. Didn't see anybody.
Judge, Commissioners, none of you were here when I started as auditor. And Melissa was here, and she and I have talked about these salaries for 4 years. 4 years ago, we started a process of trying to get people up to a living wage. With the salary service, I'm sorry, I'm calling it a survey. The salary schedule you have, that does bring the clerks up to $32,500 at a competitive rate to work in Hood County. Melissa and I have talked about this. We need to be competitive with other companies. It's been a long process to try to get everybody on an even playing field. This salary schedule gets road ops, dispatch, and other entities well within the range where they need to be. It gives the jailers a raise to hopefully we can keep our jailers. I have budgeted it. It is doable. And I seriously hope that you will approve for me to add this to the budget so that you will have it presented when we go over it next court.
You know, you can talk about numbers, and you can also talk about percentages, which one makes you look better or worse, right? These are 10.59% increases you've got in the budget for those 5 clerks, is what I show. So.
That's because they never started where the other clerks started. There's one department that was always behind, and every year we brought them up 2 steps just to get them to be equivalent to other departments. That's been a 4-year process. With the amount of money they brought in, I could never understand why they didn't make this their clerks. These ladies are hardworking clerks for Katie, for Tona, for the JPs. They're hardworking women and men. They do the same type of work. They need to be paid the same type of money.
That's what you and I talked about in my very first year, and I said that when I
Yes,
looked
sir.
at there was some of them making $24,000 a year, and I said that is not a living wage. They could make it qualify for food stamps and all, and at that time we wanted, and I wanted everybody to come up to at least a $30,000.
And it's taken 4 years.
And we finally made the steps that we're up to right that point now, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 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 We don't vote on anything here. This is just a proposed budget.
It is a proposed budget, but it would be wonderful if you would agree to the salary schedule, and I can get that in place so you gentlemen can see where we are on the budget.
Okay.
As presented.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to?
I got a comment, Judge. So our budget, our last 2 years' budgets, October 2019 to September 2020, October 2020 through September 21st, we were just north of $30 million budget.
Yes, sir.
And we've got a proposed budget here that I'm being asked to vote on right now. That's $35 million. And if I do the math correctly, that's a 13% increase in our budget. Is that about right?
That's about right. But I will, so I'm sorry, there are cuts I'm going to make. I'm going to completely review this again like I did last year and see where people are in their budget. And if you have sufficient budget from 2-3 years gone by, then that budget needs to be cut. I'm going to do everything I can to keep it as low as I possibly can. But whatever you gentlemen decide.
Okay. And with all due respect, I realize that the tax assessor collector, money comes through that office, but it's not money they're bringing in, it's money the taxpayers bring in to pay for their license tags, register their vehicles, and basically they're serving as a bank teller, so to speak. So, I just want it clear for the record that they're not bringing in money. That office is bringing in money because the taxpayers are bringing it in to pay for yearly permits, correct? Anyway, my comment is we got a 13% increase in budget, and I think it needs to be whittled down. I don't know where it needs to be whittled down at this point. I just got the newest version when I walked in the door this morning.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, that's my comment.
This is just for the salaries.
Yes, sir.
This is just for the salaries, and I take issue with Commissioner Eagle saying that they just act like bank tellers on the deal. They have to do the work. It's just like you could say a lawyer, all he does is read the law, you know. They provide a service that earns the money. All these clerks are having to understand the law and do what Andy was saying up here and do the work, provide the services, and they're providing additional service like the Parks and Wildlife and working on Saturday or whatever. They are working, and I agree with Commissioner Eagle to this extent. It is fees that are owed to the state, but you got to get to work to collect the fees. So
It's a large amount of money each clerk is responsible for on a daily basis. That's part of,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it's a lot of money.
It's a good responsibility on the deal.
And if they are short, they have to pay it.
What's the difference here? Tell me this, if we make a motion here and we pass the proposed budget for salaries, this is just for salaries, and what you're going to do is look at the other items on the budget that goes up to there, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to have another proposed budget for all the other items that are for the county expenditures as well, correct?
However you want to do it. This is the second public hearing, so the public can come and talk about the budget if they choose to.
Okay.
Mine was just, this is something that has been talked about for a while. I've worked with Melissa. We've tried to give you a really good idea of what would get these people up to enough pay to keep them here. And this is across the board pretty much.
Okay. All right.
And it's, again, you can choose to let me go ahead and put these in place because I do have the money to do this, or you can pass it next court. It's up to you. It would be easier on me if you would agree to it and I could get these numbers in place so when I print it off, you would have an accurate report like Commissioner Eagle, all of you had this morning. I could get that one printed off. And while I'm talking about that, the out-of-county prisoner money has jumped tremendously last month. I will have to increase that budget. I need to kind of get an idea of where and why, but it looks like I'm going to have to increase that by at least $60,000 in this 2022 budget. I will reduce contingency and place it in there.
That was pretty obvious by the numbers are exploding for inmates out of the county in the last.
Which we've never had. It's a complete surprise to me. This came up a $32,000 bill for July. So I have August and September that we'll need to pay. So I'm going to have to find $60,000 right now and then additional $60,000 at least for next year. And I will move some money from contingency so that this can take place.
And a big part of that is because there's outside counties that have been sending out to that aren't taking because of COVID, right?
That's part of it, but we've doubled the amount of prisoners that are held out of county in 1 month. So I'm not sure. Sheriff?
Come on up here, Sheriff.
Sheriff, why are people behaving more now? I mean, that's what the question, disbehaving, that's what Mrs. Kidd would like to know.
I don't have an answer why they're behaving badly, but there's a lot behaving badly, and my guys are working hard and catching them, DPS, Granbury PD, the constables, you name it, everybody's bringing them in, and I'm stacking them up, and we're moving them out as best we can. We got the contract with Brown County a month or so ago, and we took some out there initially, and they asked us, we got too many, come and take some back. So I've got my chief deputy looking and talking to couple other counties to see if we can get some contracts with them, because my jail is 192 beds. We've got them sleeping in the holding cells too, and we haven't been at 192 in a couple of weeks. We're over that, so we're in violation. So we're trying to get them out on these contracts, and unfortunately, yeah, the upswing is there, and in the last 3 weeks, I did a lot of PR bonds, and that's not a good situation. The district judge has done some bonds. We're trying to get them in, get them out. I don't know what the answer is, but it's the upswing. It looks like it's not going to slow down anytime soon, unfortunately. So
you don't see any reason why this is just an anomaly, or this is the way it's going, is what you're telling us?
Hood County's growing. We've got a lot of drug arrests. A lot of the drug abusers are burglars and thieves because they're trying to keep up the habit. So we got all kinds in jail. It just, as Hood County grows, it's going to continue to grow. I need a bigger jail. Sorry.
God, excuse me, that's why I hesitated. I saw the judge the sheriff staring at me, Becky, but I knew what his last comment was going to be. I need a new, bigger jail.
Can you imagine how overworked his jailers are right now?
That's why what we were going to have to do is what we have done in this salary proposal is bring them up to $20, which is still $1 an hour short of what Johnson County is going to be paying their jailers because they took over the jail back from LaSalle. So
that actually starts the 1st of September, and I still hope I don't lose anybody over there. And we're working with their chief deputy to see about a contract for moving them over there if we can afford that. So, yeah, I'm down. I think I've got 5 out right now because of COVID, plus we're down 5 or 6 just because we're trying to find jailers. So it's been tough.
Okay. Okay, well, do I hear a motion? Let's get back to our original concept here, is that Ms. Kidd would like to make it easier if we could approve the salary budget that she has submitted to us. Do I hear a motion in that regard?
I'll make that motion, Judge, to approve the proposed salary budget.
Yes, sir, Judge. Commissioners, this is still just proposed.
Proposed.
So that we can line it all out, get it on paper, and you see where we are.
Okay. Motion has been made by Commissioner Cotton.
Second.
Just an observation, are you still in public hearing?
Okay.
Oh, yes, I think we are.
Do what?
Are we still in the public hearing? I think we are.
Yeah, we are still in the public hearing. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for paying attention, Chief. Okay.
Marshall and
All right. Okay, this is now at 10:30. We are reconvening back into Commissioners Court. And would you like to make a motion?
Now, I'll make that motion to approve the proposed salary budget.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Cotton to approve the proposed salary budget, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion?
My only comment before we take the vote is that that's not how the agenda item is worded, to single out the salaries. It's
That's fine. Whatever, like I said, it would make my life easier if you could see your way through to doing this so that the numbers can be put in place, so you could get an overall picture of where every department is. It's just proposed. It's still proposed all day long. Whatever, I don't want, my main thing here, Dave, and we've talked about this, I want to be transparent. I want all of you, you could say, well, go ahead and do it, but I want you all to have the opportunity to look at all of it. I want everybody to see what's there, who's getting what increase by title. I took the names out of what you have to make it just anonymous for the employee, that this position gets this increase. And that's why it's on here, and that's why I'm talking about it. I want it to be transparent, and I'd like to get it in place, and I can undo it. But I'd like for myself, too, to see where we are once I get these numbers plugged in, get the retirement and benefits plugged in. It's a placeholder.
Has this other proposed budget, you gave us the big thick one on your general budget, has that changed from what's on the website? Is this a new one?
That is the latest one.
And that's different than what's been on the website for a few, whatever?
It was updated last night to include something that was left off. It was brought to my attention, and one position was put on there last night per the judge and your request.
Basically, what still is the proposed budget, which is what this is, one exception or something?
No. That does not have the other salaries in it. Again, everybody needs to see them before they say, put them in there.
I agree with that, but it's not out. It's not published.
No, sir. Until you gentlemen have a chance to look at it, I wouldn't publish anything. I'm just
Any other
asking
comment?
for permission to, you've seen it, is it all right if I include it in the budget, and then you can vote on it on the 14th or the last court in September? But I'd like to see where we are, get the money in for the out-of-county prisoners. I do need to increase that. And again, this is proposed.
Okay. It's proposed, and it makes it easier, and then we can see how the whole picture.
Yes,
We
sir.
had this section figured out, then it'd be easy to make the whole budget.
It will be time-consuming to do it and undo it, but I'll be happy to get it in there, and if you guys say, no, this is not right, I want to reduce these or whatever you gentlemen want to do. I'm just a numbers person.
Okay. Any other comment or question? Okay, we have a motion to approve the proposed salary budget by Commissioner Cotton, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? Okay, I call the vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Proposed budget carries 4-1. Okay, the next deal we have is discuss and take appropriate action regarding the proposed tax rate for the tax year 2021, fiscal year 2022. Ms. Kidd.
The proposed tax rate given to us by the appraisal district is .417339. I've given you that rate and two that are slightly higher, .418842 and .420345. The monetary difference between the 417 and the 420 is about $185,000. And that's all the information that I have.
And you had told me in our discussions when we talk about that the difference between the .417 and the .420 is about $7 more per year on the average home price?
That's correct.
And that would account for an increase, though, in tax revenue of $185,000.
Approximately.
And we also talked about the fact that we could vote that this $185,000 could be line item specifically and used only to go to the volunteer fire departments, all 9 of the volunteer fire departments.
Yes, sir,
Is that
whatever, however you tell me to spend it.
So if we vote on that by just increasing something that would be de minimis for the average citizen, $7 more, that benefits every homeowner, that we'd have $185,000 additionally to give to the volunteer fire departments, in addition to what we're already proposing and what we're hoped to propose if we get the other American Rescue monies too, and what we're trying to do for our fire departments. I think that we all acknowledge that what we have contributed to our volunteer fire departments has been less than other counties surrounding us. And this is very important to the citizens of all of us in Hood County. We all benefit from doing this, so.
And the only other thing I would like to add is we need a proposed tax rate. There has to be an ad in the paper. There's time constraints. So I need a proposed tax rate to be voted on today, please.
Okay. And the tax rate for this past year was .423.
Correct.
So this is a lower tax rate than the previous fiscal year.
Correct.
But it still gives us a little additional money by keeping it at .420.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll make the motion that we adopt the tax rate at .420345, which is less than the last tax year of .423777, and that the additional approximately $185,000 generated by that tax rate be earmarked and used only to go to the 9 volunteer fire departments in Hood County. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion?
Yes. So last year when this issue came up, we were given a no new revenue rate by the appraisal district of 42677, and then we were given two hypothetical rates, 3/10 each, below the no new revenue rate given to us by the appraisal district. And I specifically recall back in the September 15th last year's special called meeting on the tax rate that the no new revenue rate meant an increase to the average homeowner of $52. You remember that?
Oh, yes, sir.
And my comment was, using the nomenclature no new revenue rate, you would think the net effect to a taxpayer homeowner would be zero.
Yes, sir.
And so,
that is not
and we
the
talked
case.
about that ad nauseum, right?
Yes, sir. And this is all generated by numbers from the appraisal district that goes into the appropriate forms. Then that gives me a rate that I have no input in.
I understand.
And Mr. Rowe has given me two rates. One I felt was too low, and the second one I still feel might be slightly low from the information I have compared by the 2 years. Last year, I had the same issue with the appraisal district. Mr. Rowe is a nice gentleman. I don't mean to cut him down per se, but the two rates he gave me were vastly different. So what I do to help you gentlemen is how much money do we need and what tax rate do we need to support that? I can work with any of these three. The top one would give the fire departments more money. But yes, sir, you're correct. The average homeowner will pay more money, and that we can't avoid. The state of Texas mandates you will use these guidelines to appraise property, and there's nothing we can do about it.
So if I could continue, the appraisal district furnished us with the no new revenue rate, and you furnished us with two hypothetical rates that were below that no new revenue rate.
Yes, sir.
And what I did last year, which I'm sure was not real popular, is, at least within the county, is I went out there and interpolated the rate that should be proposed where the net effect on the taxpayer is zero. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
And I sent you that rate, which when I look at it here, it turned out to be 2 cents, 2 cents plus or minus less than, actually 2.6 cents less than their no new revenue rate. And we end up passing a rate that was slightly below. We passed a rate, as the judges said, of 42377. And that rate meant that the average increase by the taxpayer or homeowner was going to be $45 more they had to pay. And I said 42, and you said 49, but when I went back and looked, it was 45. So here we're at this same crossroad again, in my opinion. And we've got three rates. We've got the no new revenue rate of 417,339. And that rate means a net increase for the average homeowner of $70, right?
That's correct.
So in other words, at that rate, and again, it's Orwellian to me, because it's like no new revenue, you would think, well, you're not going to have to pay more money. Well, the average homeowner is going to pay more money because their appraisals went up very largely, by a large percentage this year. And there's no law, there's not a law anywhere that says we can't offset that with lowering the tax rate, is there?
No, sir.
So I'm just making my comments because I've again calculated what the rate should be if the net effect was zero on the average homeowner. And that rate, plus or minus, would be about between 0.38 and 0.39. So I want to get that on the table because we've got a proposed budget that's 13% higher than the last year, 13% higher budget. We've gotten $2.5 million in COVID money. We've received $6 million in American Rescue Act money. We're going to get another $6 million in American Rescue Act money. Get that, American Rescue Act. And yet we're coming to the taxpayer and saying, but your no new revenue rate's going to cost you $70 more. I just think there needs to be more discussion on this, and I know this is proposed today, but to me, we need to get our pencils sharpened on the budget, and the taxpayers need to understand what's going on up here. Thank you.
Hey, any further discussion or comment? Okay. Do y'all recall what the motion is? The motion that I've made is to approve the tax rate, anticipated tax rate for the fiscal year 2022 at .420345, which will generate an approximately $185,000 in extra revenue that will be specifically earmarked for only to go to the volunteer fire departments of Hood County, Texas. That was seconded by Commissioner Wilson.
Judge, I would like to, I do want to throw one thing in there. I really want to see this rate at the no new revenue rate. We've talked a little bit about that, and looks like we can get there with the coming out of fund balance. There's something else we can work on there. I don't love this 420 rate. I guess that's what I'm saying, and I feel like I need to get out there on the record why I'm going to vote against that 420 rate.
You're not voting with the firefighters?
I hate that you phrased it that way,
That's
because
exactly
that is, it's, like I said, Becky and I have talked about that, and this can come out of the
And that no new revenue rate has got the firefighter. The firefighters are, that's, to me, that's disingenuous to couch it in those terms. That's my comment on that.
Well, when I said that any raise would go to the firefighters, and the firefighters fights for every homeowner here in Hood County, Texas, that's for sure, and any business here too. So that's why I said that I don't see the disingenuous comment when I say that. That's something that Hood County needs. We're still need to get more money to the firefighters. This is one way that nobody feels the pinch, and that everybody's got skin in the game that owns property, a house, a dwelling, that helps the firefighters out. And that's why I'm for it. So, any other comment? All right, let's call for the vote. All those in favor of the proposed tax rate of .420345 with the specific caveat that the approximate $185,000 in additional revenue that would be raised is specifically earmarked for the Hood County volunteer fire departments of Hood County. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 3-2. Okay. Other item, number 6, discuss and take appropriate action to approve the 2022 Commissioners Court date schedule. Everybody has seen that. Anybody have any comment or discussion about the court date schedule?
Becky, you put this together, don't you?
Actually, my accounts payable lady does, because she pays the bills. Yes, she knows, she looks at days off, and she tries to accommodate when we're not going to be here so that everyone is on the same page.
I think even our holidays, sometimes we used to, holidays get in the way.
And that's why she does this, because she,
You got that?
yes, sir.
We can get through Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yes, sir.
Your motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion, Judge, to approve the 2022 Commissioner Court date schedule.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Cotton to approve the 2022 Commissioner Court date schedule, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next item is item number 7, discuss and take appropriate action to negotiate the amendment and/or extension of the lease between Hood County and Hood Medical Group for the use of the premises located at 1322 Biloxi Road, Granbury, Texas. May convene into executive session. I've discussed this with our county attorney, Mr. Matt Mills, and he advised that we go into executive session to discuss this lease. So at this time, we're going to adjourn at 14 minutes, 11 into executive session. It is now 11:12, and we are reconvening into the Commissioners Court after being in executive session. So after executive session, is anyone would like to make a motion considering item number 7 about the extension of the lease between Hood County and the premises located at 1322 Paluxy Road?
Okay, Judge, I'll make a motion that we instruct the county attorney and his office and/or Vanessa to continue negotiating with the hospital regarding amendment and/or extension of the lease between Hood County and Hood County Medical Group for the use of the premises located at 1322 Paluxy Road.
Second.
A motion been made in second, made by Commissioner Eagle, second by Commissioner Cotton, to allow the county attorney, specifically Ms. Vanessa, to continue negotiating with the Hood Medical Group for an extension or renewal of the lease on the premises at 1322 Paluxy Road, Granbury, Texas. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, authorize the county judge to sign the Savings Maintenance Grant Contract. Sheriff.
Judge, Commissioners, this is an annual thing that we do every year. And so what that stands for is Statewide Automated Notification System. And this notifies the victim of a crime, what's going on with their assailant and the court cases, different things like that. So this is a great thing. This is sponsored and paid for by the Office of the Attorney General. So we need to keep it going. Doesn't cost us anything.
Motion.
I'll make the motion to authorize the judge to sign the Savings Maintenance Grant Contract.
Second.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Cotton to allow the county judge to sign the Savings Maintenance Grant Contract, second by Commissioner Wilson and Eagle, since it was a tie. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Item number 9, authorize the county judge to sign the City of Granbury's event application at the request of the Historic Granbury Merchants Association for use of the courthouse square for Granbury's sesquicentennial celebration on November the 6th, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., contingent upon proof of insurance. Mr. Vandenberg, did you sign up for that?
I did.
This is the guy that's helping this, going to make this a great celebration, I'll tell you that. All right, tell us what you need.
Well, basically what we want to do is close the back half of the parking lot on the county property facing Bridge Street, so that we only use the front part of the county parking lot by Pearl Street. And that then allows for the street dance on Saturday night. It'll allow people to expand into the area over there where the asphalt is and the concrete parking area, plus the grass up to the building. We're planning a big crowd. We're going to have a great band that night for our street dance, Jody Nix and the Texas Cowboys Swing Band. And at the end of that show, we're going to have a magnificent laser light show celebrating Granbury's 150th anniversary. And so we're going to use that space there for presenting the laser light show, not only above, but onto the walls of the white limestone of the building. So it'll be a great show. But we felt that for safety of everybody involved, we didn't need cars moving through there, with people also expanding the dance into that area. So we thought it'd be much safer and better if we just closed that back portion
working with barricades at Houston Street entrance, keeping people from going toward the backside, and barricades over also on the Crockett Street exit, closing that area off over there.
Good. It's going to be a great deal, and you're working very hard to do that. I know I'm on his committee, and he makes us, we started about 9 months ago for this thing in November, and it's been working out really well. So I'll make the motion to allow the county judge to sign the City of Granbury's event application at the request of the Historic Granbury Merchants Association for use of the courthouse square for Granbury's sesquicentennial celebration on November the 6th, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. in accordance with blocking off Houston Street and Crockett Street, so that portion of the whole square. Let's use the whole square up there because it's on a Saturday.
It's on Saturday, but, and we're going to have a lot of people in town that weekend. I kind of hate to interfere with parking because of the merchants. Certainly, we need that parking space, as many spaces as we can
Do you
get.
want the south half of it to be available for parking?
Yes, sir, I'd prefer to.
Just block off the northern part.
Exactly. That way, we don't close off, but only half of those parking spaces, allowing the merchants to have the visitors come in and have a convenient place to park. We're going to have parking enough problems as it is.
Yeah, Jay Riley, who's not here today, but he's really good about getting up the barricades and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's good. So that's my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Vandenberg. Okay, item number 10, discuss and take appropriate action to allow all JPs to use their technology fund for a one-time clerk certificate pay for obtaining civil or criminal certification, a cost of $300, and master certification for $600. Judge Quinn, you have the floor.
Okay, good morning. Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. I am asking that, and this is actually all four JPs are for this, that we be allowed to use this tech fund, which is a $4 fee that we collect for each conviction of a non-jailable offense. It's in the article, Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 102.0173, and this money can be used for the cost of continuing education for our clerks. It can be used for not only the clerks but JPs and sometimes for the constable. But the Justice Court Technology Fund has to be administered by the Commissioner's Court. That's why I've come before you today. This is a certification that would be given. The first certification is for you either take your criminal or your civil certification. And out of the 4,156 clerks, presently there are only 868 of those clerks that have this first certification. On the second level, which is the master certification, there are only 237 out of those 4,000 clerks. I'm happy to say that in 2014, I did take that master certification. I took my other ones before that and then accomplished my master certification in 2014. So I know how difficult the test is, and I think that this is a great incentive for our clerks to go after to be able to obtain this master, eventually master certification. And I'm just asking that we be able to use this tech fund to do that for these clerks. They can only take one test a year, so they have to take, they have to start with their criminal or their civil first, pass that first, and then the next year, if they want to try and obtain their master certification, they can do that.
Good. Great. Thank you very much. I'm in favor of that. Do I hear a motion?
Any questions?
I'll make the motion to allow all JPs to use their technology fund for a one-time clerk certification to pay for obtaining civil or criminal certification in the amount of $300 and a master certification in the amount of $600.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Cotton has made the motion to allow the JPs to use their technology fund for the certification as explained by Judge Quinn, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
We have to figure out how to do this.
Okay.
Leanne, it's your turn.
Number one, I need to know.
Can you please stop at the mic?
Oh, are these going to be the total amounts, the 300 and 600?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that would be a one-time fee. And I'm sorry I didn't send you the backup paperwork. I knew Becky, I sent it to Becky. I did not send it to you, and I apologize.
That's okay. In the technology fund, are we taking a bulk of this?
No, it would, well, and that's up to y'all. No, none of the clerks at this time are even in the process of getting ready to take that. Their schools are over for the year, so it will be next year before, or probably in the fall. So we can discuss how
So still
to
in this budget year?
do it.
Still in this budget?
No,
year?
it wouldn't be
what's
in
next?
this budget year at all. No, it'd be in next.
2022?
Correct.
Okay, so my suggestion is that we budget for it
Okay,
in Fund 10,
okay,
because she has to hit an account for payroll. And we will budget for that, and then you're going to have benefits. So we'll come up with an amount
okay.
that when this starts, that you have to move over.
Yeah, because we'll have to be,
Journal entry.
it'll be
Okay.
more with the French benefits
Right, it'll be more than 300.
and more than 600.
Okay,
So it'll be that plus their FICA and retirement. But that's the way not to burden the current budget. If you want to pay for all of it out of 75, that's the best way to do it.
okay. Well, and so can I meet with both of you and discuss this, how we want to do it? Because I know it's going to be down the, a year or more down the road at
But
least.
next year, at least
So,
we'll
yes.
have some time.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Had a general discussion.
Thank
Y'all
you.
have it figured out as to where the money's coming from.
okay,
Okay,
all righty.
all right.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, we hadn't voted on it, but we got the motion by Commissioner Cotton, second by Commissioner Wilson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, the next item, discuss and take appropriate action for Commissioners Court to appoint the presiding judges for the elections. This is what we're talking about with the election judges and the alternate judges, and with Michelle Carew being the election clerk at the early voting. And we asked that Vanessa from the county judge's office find the law on that. Would you please come to the podium and tell us what you found?
Get two speakers.
Okay.
Yes, I had looked up, first of all, under Section 31.043, the duties of the administrator in general, and it does say under 2 that the duties and functions placed on the county clerk by this code, when it's referring to the county elections administrator, things that they shall perform. But I called Mr. Mills because he said that y'all had talked to him about this, and he was unsure about it. So I checked with the Secretary of State, and there actually is a PowerPoint that they had put out, and they said that if you didn't want to make a decision today, that they would send that and everyone could view it if that needed to be done. But there was an election advisory number 2021.07. And the way it was explained to me by Lena Proft at the Secretary of State, she said that it's different, that what Dave Fisher was saying is the normal procedure, but she said it is different for this special election. And according to Lena Proft, that it would be the elections administrator, because she said when you're reading it, just for the special election, that if you see county clerk, that you should just read it as elections administrator instead, and that it would be appropriate for her to make the appointments. But to be very honest, it was very confusing. So I might suggest that if it would make everybody, if they need more time, that maybe table it, but that is completely up to y'all. But that is what the information that I was given was that for this November election, that it would be appropriate for the administrator. Of course, she did say as long as they're nonpartisan. She said by law they have to be nonpartisan. So.
Yeah. Well, the election administrator has got to be nonpartisan.
Yes. So, yeah, I was just throwing that in.
Which means he can't be controlled by anybody. That's her old deal, Republican or Democrat. It'd be fair to everybody.
Right.
Okay.
So, but,
and then, okay, so she can be, and what was the other, was there anything else?
That was the only issue.
That was the only question.
I think that was
the only question because the judges and alternate judges are the same. Yeah. Okay. And we still have David Fisher that wants his to say something. In view of that explanation, do you still want to speak, Mr. Fisher?
No, that's fine. I do want, is this your phone? I just want to ask that you, pursuant to Texas Election Code 32.002, that you approve the list that I submitted for the presiding judges.
Yes, we will approve it for the election judges. Okay. Harold Granick, do you want to speak on this?
Yeah, I'm in favor of approving it. Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. I just want to make the comment that, and this is a general comment for all my future times to talk. I hear people coming up and saying the law is the law, and that's absolute. I have here a copy of the Constitution and point out that in amendment to the United States Constitution 18, we should not be selling any alcohol or distributing it in this county because that says so in Amendment 18. If you stop reading at Amendment 18, if you go on and read to Amendment 21, then you find out that that was repealed. So when I hear the law is the law, they're referring to one law, and there's a whole many laws, and that's why we have appeals courts and Supreme Courts, and I think that sometimes what's quoted here is just a law that may not govern everything.
That's good. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Dr. Granick, I agree with you.
Wow. Okay.
Hold it.
All right.
Sound like a
Hey,
Democrat.
there's a
Hold it.
revelation. That's on tape.
I'm going under my desk here for a second here. I think I'll.
He just stated the rule of optional completeness. I agree with you.
Okay. All right. So I guess
Well, don't we have to go back to number 2? We have not finished number 2.
Well,
We said we were
yeah.
going to do both. How do we do that?
Well, I think the deal is just we can now just approve the motion or the order submitted by Michelle Carew because it contains the list of all the judges, presiding judges, the alternate judges as submitted by both the Republican chair and the Democratic chair, and the early balloting that we've now clarified too. So I make the motion that we go ahead and approve the ballot
appointment,
the appointment as stated by our elections administrator, Michelle Carew, the appointment of the election judges and alternate judges for a one-year term. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, so that takes care of 2 is approved, and then then number 11 becomes moot, for the record, Ms. Lang, okay? All right. Item number 12, discuss and take appropriate action to approve Hood County Grant Project Budget Declaration for Coronavirus, State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds. Jay Webster.
Morning, Judge. Morning, Commissioners. This was, thanks to Commissioner Eagle's help, put on the agenda to kind of get us started so we can start moving down the road of how and what and where and when and why we're going to spend and how we're going to spend it. So this is his resolution that he helped us write to put on to get the ball rolling on expending the funds.
And Judge, I did draft this based on the research that I have, actually pretty extensive research that I have done. And this is basically, we have not spent any money yet via the money that we've received, right? So we have nothing to account for as far as accounting for anything as of July 31st, which would be reportable as of August 31st. So my document I propose is the interim report. And anyway, it's a matter of it's been furnished with the packet, And I will make a motion that we approve the Hood County Grant Project Budget Declaration for coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds.
Second.
Okay. Motion has been made by Commissioner Eagle to approve the interim report, and second by Commissioner Cotton. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Then the next item here is item number 13. Discuss and take appropriate action to adopt the proposed budget for the Hood County fiscal year 2021-2022 American Rescue Plan Grants Program. Mr. Webster.
So there's probably some clarification that we need to do, kind of thinking about some conversations that I know I've had with everybody. So we originally put this on there to discuss and take appropriate action on the budget that y'all all have before you. Probably shouldn't really be called a budget. I was trying to clarify that to Commissioner Eagle yesterday in an email. And having conversation with Becky, the budget word came about is that she's got to have permission as we go forward, because I'm on a deadline at August 31st. I have to provide additional information on top of not just what we just passed to show the Treasury as to what direction we're going to be taking. And so with conversation with Becky, that's where the word budget came up. And so hence we put together the grants program with the attached spreadsheet to show you guys easier reading as to where the money was going to go to. And so I think we need to have some conversations as to what's on the document to clarify a few things, and then get further instructions on what I need to do quickly to be able to submit something to the Treasury along with the resolution that we just did. And for what I'm talking about is when you look at one of the rules that I just got from the Treasury in an email, is that we're required to do an interim report. It's either called a report or a template. We have to provide one or the other, whatever language you want to use, but I have to give them a direction as to what or where we are looking at to spend our money other than with this and the rules. It's automatically assumed that we're going to spend it within the rules, so where are you going to expend it within the rules? Counties, excuse me, counties and cities that are over 250,000, they actually have to submit a pure recovery plan document signed off on by the county judge or their mayor as to how they're going to do that, and they're kind of, it's locked in a little bit more than we are. And so what I'm proposing here is to, whatever we decide to do is put together that template as to this is how we plan on getting started to help the community, but as we go along we can make adjustments to that. If we decide we don't want to buy some of this equipment that we know is allowed, we don't have to include that right now. I don't even have to include it in the language. It's just trying to get us started by August 31st to meet that deadline, because between August 31st and October 30th, we have to submit what we've been doing with the money on a spreadsheet, and that has to match up back to what our template or report was that we started with. And so I'm just trying to get us there so we don't end up into the argument with the government of, well, you're not following the rules, then you got to start giving money back.
You do not want to give any of the money back, but so I looked at that, so I see what you're saying. So this is just a proposed budget in order to meet the requirement from the Treasury that says that as a metropolitan city or a county, you are required to submit the following report by August 31st, and that's an interim report.
Yes,
so that's what this is.
That is correct. So I'm trying to have that conversation too with Commissioner Eagle, because I know some of the things that we talked about. I know there's some things that we want to do and some things we don't want to do. We can go back on the template and we can take out numbers and just say that this is how we're going to get started, but then we're also going to continue to look at infrastructure, such as the water and sewer. We're going to look at infrastructure. I know some of y'all are having, we still don't know what the law enforcement radio infrastructure is going to totally cost us. We can also just clean up that language to say that we're also continuing to look at further obligations to our law enforcement communication system and look at dollar amounts later, but at least they know that that's the direction we're looking at in order to spend the money. Some of the things that I did take off for clarification, as everybody sees, there's no health clinic, there's no funding grants for the small businesses right now. The reason I took that off, as Commissioner Eagle pointed out a while ago, we've only got $6 million. We don't have the full $12 million yet. And so I want to be careful of not getting us to a full commitment of something that we know is going to require that additional $6 million, and the government come along and go, you're not getting any more money, and now we're trying to figure out how, or we have to undo something. So I'm just trying to get us kind of started, get some help into the community as to where I'm seeing the need based on what I deal with on a daily basis, and those entities that are helping me deal with that on a daily basis, and then add in whatever that is we want to do as we go along in the budget year next year, whether it's generators, whether it's radios, whether it's whatever, then we can address those one at a time and bring them back up and vote on them at that particular time. And then I can update our report, send it in, and then it matches up on the auditing side as to what's on the spreadsheets that we're required to do.
Okay. Any further discussion on item 13?
Yeah, I'm still kind of, we talked about that some yesterday. I'm still a little unclear if this is really seems to be kind of fluid and we can change these numbers and make adjustments. I'd like to have a workshop or something on this. I know we're kind of up against a deadline there, but does the previous item not fulfill the overall project view? I mean,
like I said, it's already automatically assumed that we will follow the rules within what they've already laid out in the final rule that the government laid out to us, that we're going to spend the money in accordance with that. We've got to give them some idea as to what road we're heading down. We're headed somewhere. Where are we headed? And then it has to match up on the auditing piece. And this is from experience, if we give them up front some kind of idea of where we're going, then for me and Becky on the back end, it makes the auditing piece a whole lot smoother and easier. And then we start clearing hurdles where we're not having to justify mounds and mounds of stuff and then coming back and either taking that chance on, well, you didn't really tell us what you were going to do, so therefore that's not allowed, and we start having to write checks backwards. It's the same philosophy that we did on the CARES Act, to where every expenditure that went in had a justification letter that I put on top of it as to why we bought it, what we did with it, and where it went. And we cleared that audit by 100% by doing that. So I'm trying to do the same philosophy, asking questions of, if we do it, is this what you mean? And so that's what I'm educating on is, yes, we've passed the resolution, but we still got to give them an idea as to what we're going to do and which direction we're going to go.
Well, I have a comment. And with all due respect, I disagree with your conclusion. I think that the document we just passed is sufficient for the August 31st. It gives general guidelines in 6 different categories, and it acknowledges the full amount that we're going to receive, and acknowledges the full amount we're going to expend. And of course, we don't get the second installment until we show that we did correct on the first installment. And so I will call, I just want to get some things on the record, and because the vote's going to go the way it goes. If you look at the compliance and reporting guidance passed out by the Department of the Treasury, dated June 24th, 2021, there's a table here on page 12, table number 2. It says the interim report is due by August 31st. We just passed the interim report with expenditures by category. We spent no money. So the expenditure portion of that equation is not relevant because we have not spent any money. If you look over, that would fall under the recovery plan performance report, which if you look over on the right of the table that's provided by the Department of Treasury, it shows that counties with a population below 250,000, it's not required. If you look, the second document I'm going to call your attention to by the Department of Treasury, it's called Recipient Compliance and Reporting Responsibilities. And there's some guiding principles within that document that says the guiding principles for ensuring an equitable economic recovery and using this money is that it's accountable, it's transparent, it's user-friendly, and it's focused on recovery. So there's principles involved that this document that was presented to us today has not been published to the taxpayers. So I think the transparency component is not there for right now. And then if you go look at, you can hyperlink to a webinar that's in that document provided by the Treasury, and it also talks about reporting requirements in a PowerPoint presentation that shows that the interim report is due by August 31st, 2021. It's a one-time thing that's due, which we've passed just now. And then anything else would cover anything that we've spent up through July 31st. Again, we spent no money, so we don't have a report due. There's also a hyperlink within the Department of Treasury's template that talks about many categories that we can expend the money on. Again, I think we have covered every category that we could potentially use that money for in what we just passed. And last but not least, I have some, well, there's two things actually. I have a document that's put out by the Texas Association of Counties, and it's American Rescue Plan Information and Resources. It was updated on July the 19th, so about a month ago. And here's some key dates that are in this. August 31st, 2021. Deadline to submit first interim report, which we've just passed. It states that, let me see here. December 31st, 2024. It's a deadline for counties to obligate all recovery funds for specific projects and programs, or risk having the Treasury take back the funds. So this is just my legal opinion on what I've read here. We've covered our base with this first document. The next document that we have to file will be October the 31st, and that will cover anything that we spent there. And one thing that Ms. Kidd and I talked about was setting aside money for salary. We've got an agenda item coming up for equipment for the fire marshal that we're going to try to submit that as under the program. I think that we could go ahead and pass on those two items now, and then that will be reportable on October 31st. So that's my reading of the law. I don't think we have had no public hearings or on the budget who wrote all this? Who decided all these numbers that's been submitted? It wasn't me.
I can help you out there. It was me and Jay Webster and Becky Kidd looking at it. And we want to provide full transparency on this thing. No money is going to be spent until the commissioners vote on the actual money. I want to hedge my bet, and I trust Jay Webster for knowing what the law is and saying what an interim report is. This does not commit us to just that money, but it does, like Jay said, let us, according to his past experience with this money, get 100% compliance from the state. This is just showing what an interim report is, what we plan on doing with the money. And when we talk about spending the money like on Mission Granbury and all the other items that are in here, it gives the idea of what we're going to spend the money for, which is what allowed. We can use, and maybe some other things that we will pass, and hopefully we'll get the other approximately $6 million to do something that we can do other things that are allowed by the Treasury. But what is happening when you cite something that happened in July, these Treasury regs are coming out almost daily. This one that you gave me here just came out 2 days ago, didn't it, Jay?
So we got an update on July the 18th, and then I got an email August the 11th.
August, yeah.
From the Treasury, and within that guidance that the Treasury says, today, Treasury released the online portal, which we've already registered, we're set up to go to do that. But it also states in there that the metropolitan cities or counties, and when you go back and I start looking at all the other documents that I got to look at, because we're over 50,000 but under the 250, we're still required to do some type of interim report or template. We're just not locked into the full-fledged recovery plan like everybody is that's over $250,000, or 250 population, sorry. So I'm not reading it the same way he is, based on questions and based on asking questions of how everybody else is trying to do some things to make sure that we're covered. At the end of the day, I'm going to do what you guys want me to do, and I'm going to write it up and submit it. With your help, judges, like you said, and having conversations that I've had with everybody, the dollar amounts are coming from me based on, as I answered Commissioner Andrews yesterday, seeing what they do and the large amount of things that they do and have been helping us with throughout this last year, and knowing the hits that they have taken from the coronavirus over the last 19 months, giving them a big help and a big boost to get them over some humps that I know that they're struggling with. So the dollar amounts came between conversations of having throughout the community and throughout there. It's trying to put something in writing. Like I said, it can be adjusted, it can be changed, we can add or whatever, but based on what my expertise is, if we do it in writing with something, some type of guideline of what we're going to do. Hey, we're going to spend some of the money now. This is where we're going to spend it. We're going to sit on the rest to look at these following things, and take the dollar amounts out of those, which is, the trunking system and all of that. We'll be fine, because then we can start showing that we're not sitting on it because they don't want us to sit on it. They want us to start spending it because it's for the community. It's for helping the community. It's for helping us if we need it. And then me and Becky can turn around and meet that October 31st of showing them this is what we've done up to this point. And then we have to do another report 6 months later. We're not, just because we're under 250, we're still in a 50 to 250 game. I think twice a year, I have to go back and double check the dates because I didn't think I needed that. But the October 1 is just one report. Then 6 months later, it's another report. And then 6 months later, it's another report. We're not on the quarterly.
That's what I'm saying. I'd rather err on the side of caution. Let's make sure that we're getting the reports. They like them. You know what you're doing. You passed the last test on this thing. Do I hear a motion by number 13?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Becky's going to, pardon?
You had to leave.
Becky wanted to say something.
13, yeah, we've got speaker 13, we've got Victoria Calder to speak on 13.
Who else?
Victoria's not here, don't see her.
Is she the only one? Yes. Okay. Well, she's not here.
So in moving forward with this, budget-wise, understand there's two succinct budgets. We're in fiscal year 21, and if you're wanting to utilize this money, that's where my dog in this fight is. I need budget information so that I can pay the salaries if you agree to that. If you agree to the next line accounts, I need to create budgets, because right now it's all in, we just have a revenue line account where the money is. It's in a revenue line account. I have not created expense line accounts until, well, other than salary and benefits. There can be capital outlay, supplies, charitable organizations. Those are the other categories. I need, if you're going to approve something, I need to know if it is something that you're starting this year, and this is the only categories you want to use, and you're wanting me to use a budget that supports Jay's and Margaret's salaries for whenever I can go back to, through the end of the fiscal year, the benefits that go with that. I just want to be succinct in what we're doing.
Yes.
And I need, and that's like I was talking with Commissioner Eagle, I need a budget to get in place, and you can instruct me right now to do that. And that's where I'm trying to get for this fiscal year. What you do October 1st, what budget you pass in, that needs to be a whole nother subject. What you want to do right now, today, with the money that we have, I need a budget to start that.
Because it's a separate budget. It doesn't have anything to do with our budget that we're going to pass in October, right? This was a separate budget.
This is a separate budget.
Capture all of the salary for Jay and for Margaret. Am I correct? Who's the assistant?
When you agree that that's how you want to
Well, sure.
expend those funds, and that's why we're here.
Get in line with that.
So I was looking at it two things. One, I wasn't planning on doing anything until October 1 for the stuff that we're talking about, except for what she's allowed to do under the funding with the recapturing of the salaries.
And of course, that gives more money for the taxpayer money of Hood County to be used for other things in Hood County.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the motion is made to approve by Commissioner Cotton, second by Commissioner Wilson, to adopt the proposed budget for Hood County fiscal year 2021-2022 American Rescue Plan Grants Program. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
4-1. Motion passes 4-1. Okay, item number 14. Consider and take appropriate action to purchase 10 portable radios and 9 mobile radios to be assigned to Texas EMS to enable them to communicate with fire and law enforcement on the 700 system. Cost is $35,752.14 to be paid from Fund 83. Chief?
Buenos dias, señor. ¿Cómo estamos? And that's it. That's all I
Get
got.
that from Commissioner Eagle? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's about the extent. I had to look up commissioners in Spanish to even say that, so.
Okay.
So what we've got is, we've purchased all these radios and communication equipment for the fire departments, and essentially what we've done is we've moved ourselves onto an island. Texas EMS is not able to communicate with us because they do not have the 700 radios. So what I'm proposing is I would like to purchase these radios for my office, to be owned by the fire marshal's office, and assign them to Texas EMS for them to use.
So it will remain the property of
Correct.
Hood County?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but used by them. Okay, I got it. Any further discussion? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion that we purchase 10 portable radios and 9 mobile radios to be assigned to Texas EMS for $35,752.14 to be paid from Fund 83.
We have a question over here, sir.
There is no budget.
No Fund 83 yet?
That's correct. That's what I'm saying. With the last one, I need you guys to say, please do the appropriate line item transfers to get the money in place.
So what'd you do with the money that we got from the Treasury? It's not in an account anywhere?
It's in Jeff's pocket.
So you haven't created that Fund 83 we've been talking about for the last couple of courts? I'm just asking.
Okay.
It's there.
You've already accepted the money. That's gone through court. It's in Fund 83, but there are no expense budgets. It's just one big revenue amount. I can't spend this money until you gentlemen agree to a budget. So please say do the appropriate budget to get this money in place so he can buy the radios.
Okay, with that clarification, would you amend your motion?
Yes, I will amend my motion to create Fund 83 from the...
My motion, wasn't it?
I thought we were amending a previous one. He's amending this one. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
this is
Let me step on your
motion.
toes again.
All right. So amend the motion to reflect the please move the funds to the correct appropriate line item transfer to purchase the 10 portable radios, 9 mobile radios, assign them to Texas EMS at a cost of $35,752.14 out of Fund 43, or 83.
Commissioner Andrews' motion is seconded by Commissioner
Still
Wilson. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. You get your radios.
Thank you, sir.
Okay? All right. Number 15, consider and take appropriate action to purchase 31 mobile routers to upgrade expiring routers and fire apparatus not equipped with mobile data computers. Cost is $39,262.20 to be paid from that same Fund 83. You need a line item transfer on that? With the line item transfer to allow Becky Kidd to be happy. Okay? So who wants to make that motion?
I'll try this again. All right. I'll make a motion that we take the appropriate steps for a line item transfer for $39,262.20 into Fund 83 to purchase 31 mobile routers.
I'll second.
I'll let you.
Okay, I'll think.
Commissioner Wilson beat me.
Okay, Commissioner Wilson beat him, so Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion?
Yes.
I knew it. Yes.
I just want to bring this to everyone's attention. When you were on number 13, okay, that's when I said I would have to have a line item transfer to do the salaries. You haven't done that, so we will come back and I will make it a separate item. I can make it just a regular line item transfer and go through consent, but I don't really like doing that. I prefer, since this is state money, that we actually approve to do the salary, benefits, retirement, and health insurance from Fund 83 for this fiscal year, to capture that, and then we'll start over again on October 1st. Just want to make sure that when y'all don't see this happening, it's because you didn't vote on it yet. Okay?
I think I understand that Japanese, since we're talking in foreign language today.
You're going to do a line item transfer in the next court, not this one?
Yeah.
We can't do one now, we've already done
You've
it.
already gone past
Yeah.
13, which is where
Yes.
I would have done it.
But you didn't stop me in time, because I made the motion.
Trying to stop. I was
Oh.
talking about it, nobody was, y'all don't listen. Anyway, we'll do it next court.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
And then I use the phone, and once you provide, I provide you the information, it's adjourned.
Okay. So we're back to the mobile routers, the motion that was made by Commissioner Andrews and a second by Commissioner Wilson, and the amount of $39,262.20 to be paid from Fund 83 after doing a line item transfer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
So for me, that's clear as mud. I can go ahead and order these?
That's right. That's right.
I just wanted to make sure.
Hey.
Better talk to Becky.
Hey, no. Run. If she tries to corner you, just run, write the check.
Muchas
We'll have to
gracias.
cover it. We got the sheriff there that can take Miss Kidd into custody for writing, bouncing. The two of y'all don't be bouncing any checks on the county. Y'all sign the checks, don't you? Don't be bouncing anything. Okay. Item number 16. Discuss and take appropriate action to amend contract for election services between the Elections Administrator of Hood County and the City of Granbury for the November 2nd, 2021 election. Okay.
If I may, Judge.
Sir.
So, Mr. Kaufman, the city manager, requested that we put this on the agenda, or that somebody put it on the agenda, which I told him I'd be happy to do that. And there's a proposed contract between the elections administrator and the city of Granbury for the upcoming November 2nd election. And the city wants to amend that contract to include a request for pre-numbered ballots pursuant to Texas Election Code 52062. And so the city manager may want to speak to this, perhaps the mayor does, but I will say that according to Texas Election Code 31.093A, it states, if requested, to do so by a political subdivision, like the city, the county elections administrator shall enter into a contract to furnish the election services requested in accordance with a cost schedule agreed on by the contracting parties. And my understanding is that there's been no proposed cost for this request. So if you'd like to speak to that, Mr. City Manager, I'll turn it over.
Could I say something first, Judge? I think, Commissioner Eagle, you said there was a proposed contract between the elections administrator and the city of Granbury. I've got a signed contract between the city of Granbury. I just want to make sure that's clear and understanding there is a signed contract between the city of Granbury and the elections administrator.
Okay, and if there's a signed contract, that's fine. I'm doing this I'm trying to provide a service to the city on a request that they've made of the county. And if there's a signed contract, that's fine. But I felt like it was important to allow the city to have their voice heard about this because I was approached for this. Somebody approaches me for an agenda item, I'll put it on the agenda if it's relevant.
Let me ask this question. Has the Granbury City Council actually passed the amendment saying that they wanted the pre-numbered sequentially ballots?
So the amendment wording that I provided to each of y'all through an email was discussed at the council meeting. They felt like we needed to declare our election that night, and if y'all wanted to put it on your next agenda to amend that agreement, you could do that. So I called Commissioner Eagle the next day because he was in attendance at that meeting. It might have been Thursday, to ask him if this item was on the agenda, and he said no, he couldn't get it on there, too short a time. And I said, well, I guess I'll just address the Commissioners Court in the open communications section at the beginning of your meeting and make that available to y'all. Since that time, the contract's been completely executed. If y'all want to amend your agreements, and we were willing to pay our fair share for numbered ballots because we realize you're going to have to number all the ballots in the whole county for the whole election. And so there's a big potential cost to that. At the time, we didn't know what that cost was. I still don't know exactly what that cost would be. But they appointed me, the city council appointed me to come and make that presentation at the last meeting. And so Commissioner Eagle and I just hadn't communicated since that last meeting on this topic. And I got the agenda via my email because y'all have that feed that sends it out. I'm subscribed to it, and I looked on their agenda to see what was going on at the county level to see if there was any city interaction, and lo and behold, my name is on the agenda. So I'm here to speak again that if y'all wanted to change that agreement, I think the horse is out of the gate and running at this point for this election, and I think that if you want to change that wording in the future, the city would pay their fair share if the other entities wanted numbered ballots as well.
Okay, this is the deal. Since then, on vacation, I called Michelle Carew and asked her about this and told her to get with Granbury ISD, Godly ISD, the City of Lipan, the City of Toller, and ask them would they be willing to pay their proportional increase to have the pre-numbered sequential ballots. All four of them wrote back and said they are not willing to do so, that they want it. I've got letters. And all of y'all got the letters, right? Well, I've got the letters here that all of those four entities saying they will not share in the increased costs. They have signed contracts too, just like the city of Granbury, and they want the elections administrator to hold their elections just like she has in the past, like last year's. So they're not going to be willing to do it. So it's going to fall on Granbury, the city of Granbury, to pay the entire cost of this. And the entire cost of it is a minimum of 100,000 ballots. And to the information that she's got to this point, it's going to be a minimum of $20,000. I think the cost for doing the city election right now is like $543 or something in that category. Did the city give authority to pay the entire cost? Because that's what it's going to be. And it looks like the minimum cost is going to be is $20,000.
I think that they would not want to pay that $20,000. They did not say what they wanted to pay. They said they would pay their fair share. So and they didn't think that $20,000 was a good number for them to approve at that meeting. But I would say this, that I would like to add this, that we were provided handout information during the meeting for that agenda item, and Exhibit 4 that was provided to us was a letter to a city from the AG's office that reviewed the election results with this HART system, Verity 2.4, and from what I understand, we're using 2.5 now, which is even more improved. That AG letter opinion to them said that it was used properly and it could be used to certify an election. So we don't have a problem utilizing the system we have.
We welcome our partnership with the county to continue hosting our elections. This was just brought up at the last moment at our council meeting, and they were caught off guard and didn't know what to do. So they thought, well, if this is what the county wants to do, we will pay our fair share. So that's where we're headed.
Well, y'all getting the horse before the deal. We have the the county attorney here today. We have a contract. The election administrator is authorized by the Hood County. So we have a contract with the city. It's your election, not our election, and we have a contract. Now, if you want this...
We're good with moving forward the way it is, sir.
Well, let me tell you this. I also have a letter right here that just came back on August it's dated August the 20th. I've been on vacation and just got back Sunday and went to a funeral in Dallas yesterday, but it's where Michelle Carew, our elections administrator, has been dealing with Peter Lichenheld, and I don't know where in the heck he's even from. Oh, he's from Hart. Okay? And his letter to him is, I don't have the pricing yet, but the lead time is 12 weeks from the order date, as this is a special order. There will also be a minimum quantity, which I'll get to you when I get the pricing. Peter Lichenheld, CERA, Senior Vice President of Customer Service for Hart InterCivic. And then he sends her back a letter again on August 20, 2021, and says, I don't think we can get this turned around for the November election, by the way.
Oh, the city is completely satisfied with the agreement that we have. We have executed agreement with you. However, if you as elected body want to change that, that is up to y'all, and we would pay our fair share. That's the way they left it for us.
Well,
put it back on y'all to make the decision what to do.
You can't put it back on us. I don't,
I don't know how it ended up here.
And I just put it on the agenda, so.
Well, here's the deal. In the law, the burden of proof is a real important deal. That's where you always want to keep the burden of proof on the other side. Like you said, we got a contract with the city, and we will be able to do it for that price, $500 and some odd dollars.
Well, all in, we're budgeting about $17,000, $18,000 for our part of the election.
Yeah.
And we're prepared to do that, and we've signed that agreement. We have a deal in place. We're tickled to death that the county provides this service for the different entities in the county and saves us from having to go buy all this election equipment. We have November elections for the simple fact because that's when y'all can hold elections the most efficient and cost efficient for everybody, and that's why we do that. And also, people are used to voting in November, so we don't want to change our date back to May and buy one voting machine or two voting machines and have one location, because that's the only way we could do that. We could not afford to buy a voting machine the way we're talking about doing it for every voting place that you have and be efficient. It's just not good use of taxpayer money. So that's kind of where we're at. Thank you.
And I'll tell you what, I think the Hood County also likes working with the city, and I think Mayor Jim Jarrett is sitting there that you have to be pleased with the way the election administrator handled the past election. Mayor Jarrett, am I assuming that is correct?
I like the results.
What?
He likes the results.
Okay, all right. Here's the deal. Hood County has no propositions on the November ballot and has no candidates. We have nothing. Hood County has nothing. It's, City of Granbury, Granbury ISD, Godly ISD, City of Lipan, City of Toller. That's
And the constitutional amendments.
Well, the constitutional amendments are ordered by the state. They have to be on there, the governor says, and all 254 counties have got to put that on the election for November, okay? And they don't pay anything, by the way. State doesn't. So that cost, and that's why I wanted to find out what the cost was going to be. I knew it coming up when I got the agenda emailed to me in Creede, Colorado, by the way. when it was 60 degrees outside. I didn't mind reading it outside. And I saw that there was 5 entities involved. I wanted to find out if those 5 entities would pay their proportional share. The other 4 entities said they will not share in the increase. So it comes to the city of Granbury paying the entire $20,000 or whatever it's going to be, plus they don't think they can get the pre-numbered sequentially ballots back in time for the November 2nd election.
I agree with you. I don't think they can either, and that's why we had to make a decision when we did. And with the limited amount of information, we thought it would be best if this was something the Commissioners Court was wanting to do, we would just show support for it and move forward. So.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Appreciate y'all's time and hard work, and golly, y'all got a lot of things going. Thank you.
Okay. All right, the first one, Mr. Robert Vick.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners. This discussion that we're having here over Section 52062 about the sequential numbering of ballots is really a moot question. It's come up, this is the 3rd or 4th time that it's come up. And did Ms. Lang give you a little handout that I had prepared?
Yes.
The front page is the only one we'll concern ourselves with and all, and that's election law. And carrying back on what Dr. Granick had said, you can't read one part of an election law and then say, well, that's what it all means. So it does say, Section 062 says the ballot shall be numbered sequentially, but if you read the paragraph above that, it says the ballot shall be printed on black ink on white or light colored paper. If you read the paragraph after that, it says the designation of the nature of the election and the date of the election shall be printed on the top of the ballot. You read the next section, it says official ballot shall be printed in large letters at the top of each ballot immediately below the designation. What this 062 that keeps coming up over and over again is referring to paper ballots, not electronic voting machines. So if you read down 63 more paragraphs, 63 more sections in election law, you'll find that the Secretary of State may prescribe standards regarding the form, content, preparation, availability, and use of specimen ballots in elections using voting systems. The standards are not required to be consistent with those prescribed by this code for elections using regular paper ballots. This part about numbering, sequentially numbering ballots was written into law 36 years ago. That was before there were electronic voting machines, before we used electronic voting machines. And if you go down 63 more paragraphs, 63 more sections, they deal with electronic voting machines, and we are following the law, doing what we're supposed to be doing, and ballots should not be sequentially numbered. The only reason you would ever want to sequentially number a ballot is to be able to track what that person voted for and how that person voted. And if you're using paper ballots, and all of you probably remember using paper ballots, when you go in there to get your ballot, it would be upside down on a table, the numbers would be all mixed up, because you can't track the voter. It's a secret ballot, and that's the way America was founded, our democracy is founded, and for election integrity, that's the way it needs to be. So in order for us to go to lunch, there's the law. It's all written out real clear for you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Next speaker, James Jarrett.
Thank you. Commissioners, Judge. I know that the county attorney, Mills, has a request into the Attorney General on this item. And have we seen anything on that? Okay. And it's been how long?
Since March or May, which was it?
May.
This year.
May,
yes, sir.
May, June, July, August.
Guess what?
He's got 6 months.
I wouldn't expect anything till October or November.
The rationale on, in our city council meeting and providing you with the contract that did not have sequentially numbered ballots was due to, the contract got written and presented to the council at X time. Our feeling was that X time is too short should there be an issue with the contract. We had to go back in and negotiate the contract, then we would be sitting there sort of handcuffed to being able to have to put our own voting on. Now, I disagree with Mr. Kaufman somewhat. We could put our own voting, we could put together our own voting arrangements at a cost and not nearly the efficiency nor the reach that we have with the county. But there is options for us to be able to do that. And the other rationale was that if the Attorney General did come back with numbered ballots as a requirement, then we would be good. We would have it. If he came back and said, oh, you don't need numbered ballots, then, it was all mute. It would not matter. So we're anxiously awaiting that reading to come back. And anticipating that there will be numbered ballots required, and then next year we will get into, the contract a little earlier so that we can ask for, if the city council agrees, consecutively numbered ballots. I think that the other piece is the cost. We, have reviewed costs with other vendors, and it is nowhere near the $20,000, and nowhere near would we believe 100,000 ballots would be required for 70,000 people in the county. It's a lot of extra, it seems like. So if any of you have that cost data that you could provide from HART or something, I would appreciate it. I'm sure the city council would too. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay. Next speaker is Harold Granick.
Well, I don't have much to say. Thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for letting me talk again. Star Telegram article, August 20th. Hood County maximum ICU occupancy 90% filled with COVID patients. Not the kind of advertisement we want for Hood County. I don't think we want this advertisement either. This was more than a year ago. There are people who said COVID was a hoax, and this is the result. It wasn't a hoax. The menu item over the last several meetings has been, let's have this sequential ballot. There's been more than enough evidence that that's not required, and this looked like try to get a foot in the door from the city of Granbury. They want to run their own elections, and the citizens of Granbury City want to pay the cost with increased taxes. They can do that. I suggest that we vote against this amending the contract. It's worked very well, and the sequential ballot thing doesn't seem to be necessary. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody, I got a million papers up here, is there anybody here that wanted to speak on this item that hasn't been called yet? David Fisher. I thought I saw that you did this one. Okay.
I just wanted to let you guys know that the Republican Party at this point does not have a contract with the election commission.
I couldn't hear you.
At this point, the Republican Party does not have a contract with the election commission. When we do apply for a contract, and that's what we have to do, we have to request a contract. We will be asking for the same amendment because we want to abide by the law. If the law changes, which is fine with us, then we will abide by,
thank you. We will abide by whatever the law is. But at this point, it appears to us that the law says that we need, in 52.062, it says we need sequentially numbered ballots. I believe that the primary that 3 of you will be running in will be covered by that contract, which we don't yet have. We're not really sure what we're going to do if she won't sign the contract. So at this point, we're
about November of 2022.
It'll be the It should be in March, or if Dan Patrick pushes it back, it might be in May.
Yeah, the general election is in November.
The general election is in November.
March, or they said it may be as far extended to May or June.
May, I've even heard July. I don't know what's going to happen, so we'll have to see. But it's supposed to be in March, but it's probably going to be pushed because of the census. But we're eagerly watching to see what happens with the city contract, because we are going to request the same change.
Well, hopefully by then, we will have an opinion from the Attorney General.
Hopefully. We eagerly look forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else wish to speak on, or that I didn't call, that has filled out a public participation form? So, the discuss and take appropriate action to amend the contract. Do I hear a motion regarding item number 16 about the amendment for the election contract between the election administrators of Hood County and the city of Granbury?
Judge, since I put this on the agenda and since the city manager just withdrew his request, I'll just withdraw this agenda item. No motion.
Okay, item number 17, discuss and take appropriate action to allow the county judge to sign a cooperative agreement between Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service and Hood County. That is just the normal contract that we sign all the time. Is it not Precinct 1, Commissioner Andrews?
Yes, sir. Actually, this one is actually kind of a new thing that Donald ran by us, and they do have this with several counties. This is finally just getting everything down, what the AgriLife service provides to the county and what the county's obligations are to the AgriLife program. So it's up to this point, it has been pretty much a handshake agreement between AgriLife and the county. And this is it kind of details everybody's role in it.
They provided, we provide some costs too. It's a very good program, yes. And Donald Klein has come up here and spoken many times on this.
Yes, sir, and this is exactly what we've been doing for the last however long. It's nothing, this doesn't change anything, it just gets everything down in writing. So, yes, sir, I'll make a motion that we allow the judge to sign the cooperative agreement between Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service and Hood County.
Okay, Commissioner Andrews has made a motion to allow the county judge to sign a cooperative agreement between Texas A&M AgriLife Extension and Hood County, second by Commissioner Wilson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, item number 18, discuss and take appropriate action regarding a check received from the Texas Association of Counties. This is 2020 surplus for the Health and Employee Benefits Pool. Discuss and approve account to receive the monies collected. Miscellaneous received capital projects or medical reimbursement. The treasurer. Ms.
Good
Leanne
afternoon.
McCoy.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, it is afternoon.
It is. When we first received this check, Melissa and I had talked about maybe putting it in medical reimbursement for the next year. Talking with Becky yesterday, we believe that it should be placed into Fund 55. There's some projects that need to be done before the end of this fiscal. So wherever you tell us, that's where we're going to put it.
God, it didn't make me any difference where. As long as it's deposited in the county, that's what I think. It's whatever works out best between the auditor and your line items amendments.
It would be good to put in capital projects. We always need any extra money that can go in there for ongoing new vehicles, repairs, anything of that nature. It's always good to have it placed in there.
And we did say there was something coming up, I think, that was going to be requested. So, and it's $13,503.
Well, based upon that information, do I hear a motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make a motion that we deposit a check for $13,503 received from TAC, or Texas Association of Counties, and transfer it to capital projects.
Second.
I think That went to Mr. Andrews, okay. Motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to deposit the check received from the Texas Association of Counties surplus from the Health and Employee Benefits Pool into the capital projects. Second by Commissioner Andrews. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Item number 19, discuss and take appropriate action regarding a check received from the City of Crescent for the Hood County Interlocal Agreement for Law Enforcement Services between the City of Crescent and Hood County. We approved this in court on June the 22nd, 2021. Discuss and approve the account to receive the monies collected.
So I've actually gone back and watched the video several times, and there's no clear direction on where the money should be received in when it was approved June 22nd. So that's why I'm reaching out to you, and just, I had talked to Becky, and we had discussed where we should put it. I've discussed it with Kevin, and I think he wanted to discuss a little bit more. Probably the best that it would be to do, for Becky to create a revenue line account just for this and us to be able to keep track of it. It's not going to be enough money to actually pull someone in and pay for anything, so we're not quite sure where the direction of this money was planned to go.
Okay.
Well, and we are looking at extending a similar program with the city of Toller on this, and I'm not sure, it may end up with Toller, they're wanting 30 or 40 hours a week, and I think at that point, we may be looking at adding a deputy to that. So I guess it would need to be, I don't know how to work the number magic on that to make that work to where we can pay that salary.
Would that be, if you're hiring a new deputy for that, would it be something like they did the sheriff's, the resource officers, where they actually had their own fund and you can only pay what was brought in from either Crescent or Toller and not pay any more, is what we did with the resource officers. So I don't know if that's an option that you're looking at in the future. That could still be this line account that we use. But for now, I mean, it's $1,083.33 a month from Crescent.
That money's coming out of, the effort to support that is coming out of the sheriff's department. And that's not paying for a deputy. So my opinion is that money goes back into the sheriff's department's account, whatever line it needs to go in, because it's taking resources from his department to meet that contract.
The money's already budgeted for the sheriff's officers for that. So even when I discussed it with the sheriff, he was assuming that it went into miscellaneous revenue.
It's better, if it would support an entire officer, the benefits, retirement, health insurance, and all of that, we could put that person in their own fund, fully supported by that monies. This is $11,000 a year. We need to just put that in a revenue line account until we can get to a point where we can utilize this money, and then we can change it over to its own fund.
No argument with that.
Fully support an officer. So
But all I'm saying is we're taking resources from the sheriff's department to meet this obligation.
Yes, sir, but that's budgeted. That's already, that obligation is met. This is a drop in the bucket.
True.
But at least it will enable us to track the monies we get, and hopefully Kevin can get a good contract with Toller, and if it can support most of it, I'll be happy to come back to court, explain how much we would need to kick in, and we would need to do this quickly because we need to have that in place before we approve the budget.
And it's your call. So when we receive big monies like this, it's not something that we can just throw somewhere on our own. We have to have your direction as the court.
And we have revenue line accounts for interlocal agreements with, like, dispatch. We have a lot of that. But right now, it just needs to go into a revenue account to support fund balance, period, if that's agreeable with everyone.
Well, there's kind of agree with you saying it's budgeted, but This is a, Sheriff, you want to address this? I'm kind of, you're having to send, because of those pod developments out there in Crescent, you're having to send more and more deputies out there, aren't you? I mean.
Yeah, we send, and off the top of my head, I don't know the exact statistics, but we're up there every day and every night, for the most part, with 2 or 3 deputies at a time. So we're more than exceeding their minimum requirement of us under that contract. Yeah, I need more help. I need more people. We're up there all the time, so it's not a big amount of money and not a big amount of hours. But if we enter into something with Toller, then that's going to definitely, I need more people to make all these extra hours. So.
And I think that it needs to be in a situation where it can be specifically utilized to pay the salary of an additional deputy. And if we just.
Yeah, I didn't know how that was going to have to work. If it's, I don't want it to sit there and go to waste, then it'll go back in the general fund anyway. And that's where it ultimately, I guess, will end up. But if we can utilize it for the future, then yeah, that's great.
But you can't.
So, but we can't, so.
What you receive this year collapses this year, September 30th, between the revenue and expenses. That's just, unless you put that into like Fund 109, and then that is a dedicated account, which those amounts roll over. But your ultimate goal is to get enough money from Toller to support hiring someone. But again, that has to be in the budget for this court, for the fiscal year coming up. And I can go back and use Fund 63. And place the, if you want, I can put the revenue in there with anticipation of hiring someone. But it's just, right now, it's not enough to help. The $1,083 a month isn't helping anything, unfortunately.
If this doesn't come to fruition, what would happen to that money in the
I would roll it into fund balance and move on.
Okay.
And that's really where it needs to be right now, because there's nothing I can do with it this year. So for this fiscal year, it should go into a miscellaneous revenue account. And if you can get a contract with Toller, give me some more information, I can set that up for next year in Fund 63.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Judge, I'll make a motion to move this check into the miscellaneous revenue account.
Second.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to move the check from Crescent into the miscellaneous revenue account, second by Commissioner Cotton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Good reach.
That is the last item for today.